Listen, listen, listen. Welcome to Monday Night Tour Ramblings, where I will ramble on for probably 3 hours as we have G.I. Joe Day that just came and had a whole bunch of digital render reveals, and we will be ranking each and every single one of them as what the best artwork or did no we're not that sounds stupid. Why would I rank something that's not even out? That makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Hope everyone had a wonderful week leading up to this wonderful Monday. We got 4 more days of work. If you work a Monday 9 to 5 like I do, or 8 to 5, I guess you should say. So anyway, thank you guys all for joining me. I hope you guys all had a good weekend. It's still pretty cold here, although it was in the 20s today. So being in the 20s, it really didn't feel that bad. There was actually some sun. Then it started snowing. I've been going out trying to get as many snow pictures as I can to load up on Instagram. As I'm really enjoying going outside. Ed, you'll like going outside and taking pictures. Of course, I still don't ever plan on getting my figures muddy because, well, that just sounds absolutely awful as an adult. But no, I've actually had a lot of fun. The snow is very difficult um, because of the cold, and what's crazy is because Roman has been hurt. He's not going in the back, so I have all this still fresh powder. So everything just sinks into it. So if you look at all the pictures that I've been doing, if you've been following me on Instagram, all the pictures like that stuff is just kind of sinking into it, which works for some stuff, but just to even get like pictures with Iceman, I have to pat everything down, and it kind of ruins the whole effect of them just kind of being on top of it. It works good for, let's say, a Sentinel that maybe I have that up tomorrow or later on this week. So anyway, I have had a lot of fun. It is fun going outside. So Ed, you are correct. It's nice to go out there. Uh, Toy Domination, who's just play with your toys. He is probably the biggest heathen of all heathens when it comes to going outside and absolutely ruining his figures, but that's what he loves to do. He's created a game, um, plays with his kids. I truly do believe that his his wife has to hate him for what he does to the property value. Matter of fact, we talked about it when when he was on Thursday with the friends. So anyway, yeah, had a good weekend. We again, there's only so much that you can do. You get out, take a few pictures, come back in, out. Um, and if you're going to be if you're going to be posing figures and taking pictures out in the cold, this is what I suggest that you do. Is pose the figures first inside the best that you can. Go outside with whatever selection you have, set them down, take the pictures, come in, warm up for a second, let those figures melt, have the next batch of figures you want to take pictures with, go out and do that over and over. Because again, when it gets to be in the single digits, I know last week it was actually, I think, below zero when I was taking some of those pictures. Man, your hands start hurting, your feet start hurting. I don't have boots either. I'm just going out in my backyard. But I had some pictures that I was pretty happy with. I gotta say, I was really happy with the pictures that I dropped today. Um, Me pat myself on the back, but it didn't even dawn on me. And I had the idea of the Empire Strikes Back, but the first picture that I posted with the three of them really reminded me of the AT-ATs walking, and not when I actually posted the picture first. It was after I did it. I'm like, man, I really should use the Empire Strikes Back music, which I did when I did the short this morning. So anyway, my daughter and I, we've been watching, and it was already brought up 90210. We're still in this, we got to be closing in towards the end of season 2 already. It is so bad. It is good. And um, there's a lot of bonding with a child when you can make jokes. She can realize how much we hate certain characters or actors or actresses on a show. Again, her and I think a lot alike. She can't stop pointing out Brenda's uneven eyes. And if you don't know, Shannon Doherty had one eye that was noticeably higher than the other. Noticeably, like more noticeable than Tom Cruise's middle tooth. But yeah, we've been doing that. We watched an episode already today. She's all, do we have a time for an episode? I'm like, all right, let's watch an episode. And then I finally sat down to start watching Stranger Things. I think I'm halfway through the final season. I'm beyond lost. I've watched all the seasons. It's been so long, and it's one of those things where you're like, what the hell happened? This was like this fun 80s thing, and now it's like super serious, and I don't know. It went from being really good, and now I feel like it's like I need to just finish the series one way or another. I like Matthew here saying, "Yeah, we finished Buffy, and we finished Buffy, and on the throats of season of angels, and on throats. I'm assuming on season 7, season 6 of Angel." If Matthew's having a stroke, please tap twice. I feel like I read something absolutely wrong. Anyway, let's head to the chat. There's 50 people watching right now. Please hit the like button. Please go over and vote. Tell me, are you excited about the classified reveals? Yes, no, somewhat, or I'm here for the Motu news. That's what we know so many of you are here for. So quickly, we have a new channel member, and that is Repellich, someone I've never even seen or heard. So first off, you get the
welcome to the creamery.
And then I gotta drop this.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. You gotta understand, man. I never even saw these assholes before.
We got Same Time Toy and Shane's jumping in here. Hi, it's me. We have Troy Bleefer jumping in here saying Evening Punks Monday has way too much going on, but can't miss the ramblings. And I definitely appreciate it. We have the Odorous. We have Machine Man. Let It Roll. We have Double Dog. We have Menhuza jumping in the house. We have Callister, Beardy McBeardis, and SCS Dog. And let's see, David R. Then we have Matthew Matson, my one moderator, jumping in with his customary. Maybe not. David T. Allen, who will be a guest at the end of the month for Thursday with a Friend. Alex Martinez. We have Plastic Fantastics. We have Krusty O. Crow. Let's see here. We have Tony's Figs, who I may or may not have spoken to earlier today on the phone. Jeff is jumping in here. We have Rowdy Riles. And let's see here. I know there's more. We have Steve Chom or Ted Knight. He's one of the few people that I still say his name because I didn't really know who he was. We have Mr. Grudge, a UK Skeletor smoking a cigarette. I don't remember ever seeing this name. And did everything just freeze up? Are you kidding me? Hold on.
Welcome to the creamery.
You know, and once again, StreamYard just froze up, which means I can't really move things. I can't play certain things, which is going to drive me absolutely nuts. I'm going to have to fix that in a second. MCR Mazda jumping in the house. Okay, we have Action Figs, my other moderator, HK of Viper. We have Nolan, which makes us Toy Tube official. And let's see, I know there's more. We have Dan Olton here. We have Venom Spider. What's good, fellow collectors? And let's see. I know there's more, but there's more. Russell Lemieux. This is what happens when you don't start things and you just go through it. And you're doing this all alone. So I love the fact that you guys bear with me. Here we have Gun Bunny Customs saying, what's up, everyone? And I know there's a few more here. There always are. Viper Scout, JLS Comics, and then we have Keanu Lee saying "Sup up, party people." I don't remember. See, there's like 3 people that I don't remember seeing the names, and I can't go back and play the thing because StreamYard just froze up. So I'm gonna do something in 1 second. We have just Jay Neese saying "Sup, buddy." Damn it, Larry. That sticker's still up there. You can see it. You probably just can't read it right up there. No giveaways today. I am not a giveaway channel. There are other channels that love to give away. Don't go there right now. You don't want to leave there right now. 3-star draw has joined us. And let's see here. We have Troy Bleefert saying gifted 5 Punk memberships. Thank you very much. So you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a...
Welcome to the Creamery.
There's another
Welcome
one?
to the Creamery.
Here we go.
Welcome to the Creamery. Welcome to the Creamery.
And I got one more.
Welcome to the Creamery.
And that goes to Same Time Toys, JLS Comics, Keanu Leaves, 44D4, and Wes Don of Pops. Thank you very much, Troy Bleefert. I definitely do appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to quickly do something so I can kind of reboot this so I can actually move this up and down. So if I want to play, I don't know, let's say my extra, my ending, I can actually do that. But because of this, I have to quickly play something else. So let's just give you this.
And now back to Cobra News Now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have received word that our field correspondent, Scrap Iron, is on scene at Mars Industries, and he has interviewed a few eyewitnesses and forwarded those statements over to us as he tries to get closer for a better vantage point on the fire. So let's take a listen to these eyewitness statements and see if we can discover what has happened here tonight.
All right, so I'm out here just ripping this mini ramp that's made by Mars Industries. Don't ask, I don't understand why they sponsored it. But anyway, I hear this huge explosion, and I hear all these people yelling and screaming that this thing's on fire, and they tell me to call 911, so I call 911. We got the ESU police here, and we got the firefighters, and wait a minute, don't you work for Mars Industry and the Iron Grenadiers too?
Oh yeah, that's a wicked fire, eh? Good bonfire for burning the moose on. Kind of reminds me, it reminds me of the one that we did at Justin Bieber every year at Stratford Festival. Just as much smoke, big flame. We do that to keep Sasquatch away. What'd you do yours for, eh?
Yeah, how you doing? I was walking down the street, hanging out, minding my own business. About to sit down on the park bench here and just enjoy my meal here. I got a nice little delicious lunch made by my wife, my lovely wife. She's a great cook. Sometimes not the best, but listen, we all suffice, right? And I'm sitting here on the bench about to open up my lunch box after a long day of working with construction workers. If you haven't noticed, I got this hard hat on, right? And I'm sitting here chilling, and next thing you know, I smell burning. And I go, what is that? And then the explosion, the loud, boom! I'm like, oh, what the hell was that? What's going on here? You sound like Aaron Judge cracked a home run. I'm freaking out. I look up, and Mars Industries is on fire. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is this? The building just blew up. It's on fire now. And no one can have any answers. Nobody has any answers. Next thing you know, the fire shows up. The cops show up. Nobody knows what's going on. But damn things for sure, that building blew up. Now listen, I ain't no conspiracy theorist, but I'll tell you this. The owner of that building, he wears a metal helmet. Who's wearing a metal helmet? Just to do business. Something don't smell right. You understand what I'm saying? That building, that was an inside job. You can quote me on that. Thank you for having me on the news. I've never been on the news before. This is fantastic. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And before we go, I want to shout out some people. My man Shane, my man Woody, my man Mike. I appreciate you all. Take it easy, guys. I appreciate you. I'm on the freaking news right now. This is fantastic.
Well, that was certainly something. So let's see if we can check back in with Scrap Iron and see if he's been able to locate Destro or the Baroness, find out the cause of this fire. Over to you, Scrap Iron. Scrap Iron. Scrap, are you there? Looks like we might be having some technical difficulties, and oh my God. Oh, I'm going to have to go over there now.
All right, sorry about that. So to all the people that may have just shown up and they're like, "What the hell? Why is he already going into this?" I normally don't do anything this early, but on StreamYard, it wouldn't let me access my media stuff, so I needed to kind of restart it, and I probably shouldn't have played the longest video possible. But for some of the new people, I got to play this quickly.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. You gotta understand, man. I never even saw these assholes before.
All right, so quickly, we also had Sean Forrester jump in here. We had Liquid Identity saying, finally, some real Joe talk, and we definitely will get into G.I. Joe. And we have Cobra Commander. So quickly, I thought it was great. This is perfect. Troy Bleeford, thank you very much for dropping this. So someone left a comment for me earlier today. And again, some people, again, I don't know why you ever leave a dickish comment or you just want to be an asshole, but that's fine. I guess being an adult, whatever. To all the channel members, it made me actually go back and I used to do this thing. I've done like 4 of them. And the first one I did was over 2 years, or just 2 years ago now, February of 2024. And it was comments. So if you're a channel member, after the show or whatever, I'll try and remind you guys later on. Just go to the go to my playlist or all the videos and type in comments. And I read off mostly mean comments towards me. I know the first one, people absolutely died. A lot of them thought it was pretty funny. I have this belief that if you're going to leave a comment, then you have no problem with the person or persons reading those comments if you want. So I did that for the channel members. I did like 4 of them. I need to go back to when I end up with a mean comment, when I get 5, 6, or 7 of them, just kind of putting them to the side and then reading them. And I like to read them off exactly how they read off to me. And Tony says, I love mean comments. Not all of them were mean. Some of them just didn't seem to make too much sense. I got to say, though, in the first ones that I did, there is a comment about the Valiver's ghillie suit. That was an extremely long comment. So it made that video like literally 25 minutes long. Todd C jumping in here saying, hey, Joe Drought over. Punk, will you stop talking Motu? Wow, there's all kinds of Motu news. So how can I stop talking Motu? Ultra Mech has jumped into the house. JLS says, should we leave a bunch of mean comments to get on the next episode? See, the problem is when you know certain people like JLS and other guys like that, you kind of know when they're actually being mean. I was actually thinking about, there have been some really amazing comments, especially over on the Circle of Jerks. And I've had a whole bunch. Graft seems to drop. I should do like funny comments and just comments that I see that make me laugh. I need to kind of break them up and just kind of do some stuff and just do a few other things for the channel members. That's fairly easy and doesn't take a lot of time for me. But anyway, if you get a second, if you're a channel member, do that after this. I think you'll enjoy them. And I've said before, like anything that you say, whether it be behind the paywall of channel members, know that people can still screen record it. They can screen grab stuff. So never say anything behind a paywall that you're not willing to say to someone's face or out loud. And all those, I had no problem. I just did it for channel members. Anyway, it was a perfect time after he dropped that. But of course, everything just kind of stopped working for me, which is, nothing new. And again, I don't know why. I might have to start using, I can't use Firefox. Firefox moves too slow. I've been using Edge for StreamYard, only for StreamYard. That's the only thing. But Chrome, people seem to do pretty good with Chrome. So, all right. I'm going to talk about what we've been watching. I said hi to the chat. This week, I've actually dropped a good amount of videos. So this weekend, starting on February 1st, I dropped the ratings of all the classified animals. And I thought this one was a lot of fun. We hear a lot of people that say the GI Joe classified, they should do weapons packs. They're missing out on it, and everyone complains about the weapons. They're not real weapons. They're gummy. Why would anyone want that? You can go buy packs of weapons or 3D weapons from other people that you're not going to complain about. Nobody really wants the classified weapons. All I hear is people complain about them. But I think the animal companions, this is a moneymaker for them. Drop 5 animals together. Again, you have eagles, wolves, different types of dogs, crocodiles. I mean, you have a whole bunch of really good animals. So I had a lot of fun going through that. And if you want to see the mean comment, you can see the mean comment. Kind of roll your eyes and go, yeah, I think you totally missed the whole reason why you make friends in this community. But that's neither here nor there. Although it may lead to some more comment videos that I'll be doing. So I dropped that. Again, I'm trying to continue on with the series, but if you do too many, by the end of the year, I will have run out of stuff to actually talk about. I'll run out of classified stuff, and I already know that I'll be moving on to some other things by 2027 because, well, you can only go so far if you don't have stuff. I guess I could start, ranking digital renders, but that just wouldn't make a lot of sense. M. Hatfield said an army of polar bears. I think people would absolutely love that. In all honesty, that's what I said. They have these animals. They work with everything. You can use them with Marvel Legends. You can use them with Mythic Legions and other, 1/12 scale stuff. I think people would love it, and that's something you already have just sitting there. Keanu Leaves says classified has more accessories typically than other lines. More though is always better. I'm never going to complain about having too many, other than eventually I have too many hands, and I'm not the only one that feels that way. Having extra hands is nice. Eventually, you just have too many hands. But I'm with you. I don't really get mad if you're giving me extra weapons that I can just throw in a bin. But there are some that I think you need to have a few more. U.S. Combat Dojo jumping in here. Woo! And Liquid Identity. I know I've seen him make comments before saying more reissue is not always better. Not reissue. Like I said before, with their weapon, if they want to do something with the weapons pack, and this was early on, it would have been smart to have taken those figures that they were making and actually make their weapons and put them up on Hasbro Pulse. I think that would have worked really well for them. More reuse. Okay. But yeah, it is definitely one of those, again, people don't seem to really care for their weapons. I have so many weapons to begin with, and Classified has given us so many. Although it sounds like they're actually looking into it, but you got to do something different. But Hasbro is a corporation. They want to make millions of dollars, not just thousands, like some of these smaller independent companies that they're willing to make a much smaller profit, and they would consider that a success, or Hasbro might even look at it and say that's not even worth it. Tony Tran jumping in saying, need a comparison of Hasbro Polar Bear and Mythic Legions Polar Bear. I did not order that. I didn't order that Polar Bear just due to the cost and how long it would take to get it. I don't think it's out yet, but I know they're already redoing that Polar Bear as a brown bear, I believe. There's no doubt in my mind that the Mythic Legions one will probably be better. And I've heard people make comments like, I'm getting the Mythic Legions one. It's going to be so much better. It's like, I hope so. It's also twice the price without a figure. It should be better. But it doesn't mean that the Hasbro one isn't a good one. And I've said this many times about some of the weapons that people love Gridiron. It's like, I understand what they're doing, but I think some of these people are missing out on some of the really good stuff they Classified and other lines have actually made. So let's see here. Oh, 3 stars said brown bear is coming first, Polar Bear is later. Okay. And again, I'll be 100% honest. I don't I see what comes out with the Mythic Legions or Four Horsemen stuff, but you start to forget after a while. And yeah, Ed is saying the same thing. Brown Bear will be here soon. Polar Bear till not till next year. Billy Butch jumping in saying, for the first few years, everyone complained about not having enough hand options. Look at us now. I just want better quality weapons. And their weapons have actually gotten better. So going on to what I've dropped is I dropped some classic reviews also. I worked on a lot of classic reviews this week. But I dropped, Monkey Wrench, Thrasher, and the Thunder Machine. But last week I also got Zap, the female Crimson Guard, and Crazy Legs in. And I have to say the weapons that they come with are much sturdier. And again, they're going to have some flex to them because it's for ages 4 and up, but you're not going to have to worry about them breaking. And they're also not going to be super rubbery, which, again, going back to some of the mean comments, because I actually watched them all. This has never been a G.I. Joe thing. This has never been a classified thing. This is a Hasbro thing. Go look at some of the Marvel Legends weapons. Still, they're super gummy. So it's one of those ones that it's always been an issue because of what they do. Originally, classifieds weren't like that. Then they changed everything. They were super gummy. And even the gumminess, if they're fully bent, they're a problem. But most people just pose the figures. They never really do too much with it. So as long as the weapon can fire straight again, I don't know why people are so flip out about it, because most of them do nothing more than just pose them on a shelf and don't do very much with them. Son of a Crayon Slayer jumping in here saying, hey now. But yeah, so if you haven't watched, I did drop the 3 retro videos, being Zap, which I know that's one of the OG 13. I think we have 2 left, Flash and Grand Slam. Crazy Legs, I have my issues with Crazy Legs. I don't think any figure in any line should have just only a screaming head. It's who's screaming all the time. It doesn't make any sense. I will say this: the paint on that face is much better than the Night Force one, but the Night Force head just looks better because he's not screaming. Again, who wants to be screaming? And then the female figure, the female Crimson Guard. I love having as many army builders as possible that look different. They just break up your sets, your displays. So I have 2 female ones. The complaint of Hasbro, the complaint of Classified using different size neck pegs than everyone else doesn't make any sense. And it really sucks with the females, but I know I have the Emma Frost, and that head sculpt looks really, really good on the female Crimson Guard. And there's a whole bunch of other ones. I've seen other people already starting to drop them on. You use a little bit of sticky tack, you pop it on. They don't use too much, or else the head will sit too high. But that Emma Frost one, especially with the hair blowing, I was able to do some really nice pictures with her kind of yelling at Zap. And it looks like her hair is flowing. But that Crimson Guard, I think that female Crimson Guard, you're going to see a lot of people dropping different female head sculpts on it. And I think they're going to look really, really good. And from what I was told, that female Crimson Guard was supposed to have an unmasked head, and it got costed out. That was something that I heard last year. And again, some of the stuff that I was told that people say, hey, that's not true. Some of the stuff we kind of is seeing come to fruition. And again, I don't think a lot of the stuff is too shocking. But anyway, go check out those reviews if you haven't yet. It's great to finally get some new Joes in hand. It seems like there's this. Man, I've been going through, and I know I'm just a classified channel. It's been reiterated on numerous live streams that I'm just a classified channel. But I was going through the last time that I did a classified, and the amount of classic reviews that I've done is utterly insane. It is utterly insane. We have Brick Something jumping in here, saying hello. But yeah, so there is that. If you haven't checked them out, please do. I appreciate it. This week, hopefully, I should have some Savage Crucibles. I did order 3 different products from Savage Crucibles, one being the twins, although there's only one figure. I didn't order the twins. I ordered another figure. I don't remember who. And then I ordered the chains. So there is a display that has skulls, chains, and I thought, like, yeah, it'll work. It works extremely well, obviously, for Savage Crucibles and types of fantasy stuff, but I thought it might work really good for, let's say, Once a Man, Cobra Commander, or anyone that's in a cell for Cobra, or even Marvel Legends, anything like that. So I wanted to get it. It was like $30. It's still available on the Savage Crucible site, which I think is actually Harbinger Studios. It might actually be, but those were supposed to be shipping, so I'm excited to get those in. We'll see how they are. I reviewed a few Savage Crucibles. They've been wonderful figures. All the ones that I've reviewed, the issues that I've had is a known issue that they went and rectified with ankles, and that tells you how much that a company pays attention. And it's a guy that remembered my review. So much so that he pretty much told me that he wasn't happy with what I said, but he understood, and we get along now. Anyway, let's see. WrestleMuse says, I feel like everyone has the same gum mats. The same gum mat is outfitting Joe's. I'm not really sure. I'm assuming that's about gummy weapons, but yeah. I'm Happy says the Retro Crazy Legs is a head scratcher. It's not like they didn't already have an alternate head ready to go. That is my complaint with it. You already had the regular head. I don't have a problem with the screaming head. I mean, but again, there's a few things. You can have him getting shot, you can have him attacking someone, or you can have him yelling at someone, but he's not like a drill sergeant. So who is he yelling at? Is he yelling at someone because they didn't pack their parachute properly? That, again, it doesn't make any sense. And you're right, the head sculpt is right there. And I understand, hey, you want to make it special, the Night Force one, but the Night Force one is already special because they're never going to do that version again. That's the only way that you get it. Oh, Jamats. Okay. I feel like that's a gridiron shot, but maybe I'm just reading too much into something from the past. Crestio Crow says they gave CoverGirl two heads. The wave prior. Is it a coincidence flip? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense because again, it was already the portrait was already done. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Into Mystery says he's screaming while he jumps. And that I understand and I get that, but like I said, like he shouldn't always be screaming. Stephen K jumping in here saying hello. But no, it is, again, it's one of those things where some of the stuff they do, and again, everything is cost measured. I mean, people have to remember that everything is cost measures. That's how Hasbro works. And again, billion-dollar company, not a billion-dollar brand, and they've, again, you look at a lot of these new figures. There's a lot of new tooling. Airborne Customs kind of went through them on his Instagram and pointed out everything that is new tooling. So there's a lot of new tooling in these digital renders that they showed off. If you're not following Airborne Customs on Instagram, you should. He has a lot of inside knowledge. So he doesn't really come right out and tell people, but he, he'll kind of confirm or deny certain things that he knows to be true when it comes to that stuff. So, but that's what I got. Some Savage Crucibles coming. I want to say a big thank you to Ben Conway, owner of Skeletron, for Thursday with a Friend. That was a really good one. Once again, another guy who I've met personally numerous times, had a great time and getting to know him and sit down with him at Assembly Required, him jumping on the show. He's like, hey, I see these sometimes go 3 hours before. He's like, hey, maybe we can like 2 hours. We talked for over 3 hours. We talked afterwards. Thursday with the Friend, again, if you're not into it, if you haven't been following, it's not talking about toys, it's getting to know the person opposite me and getting to know who they are. And it's a conversation more than this interview of like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I'm not shooting to bring on the next big YouTuber to help my channel. I'm not trying to bring on the next toy maker or the next toy owner to pump up my channel. I want to bring on people that have supported me in one way or another. And Ben was awesome. Again, if you haven't watched it, not just for me, but for Ben. And again, if you like Skeletron, you do learn a little bit about Skeletron. We talk a good amount about it. And again, I have so much fun. And this week, I have Red Toys Galaxy. He's coming on. He was supposed to come on the week that I was sick. So it is great that he was like, hey, not a problem at all. I haven't really had to go and cancel on anyone. So it feels good that he was able to say, hey, not a problem at all. Because it makes you feel good. You feel it kind of felt like a shitbag when you have to cancel on someone, even if it is because you're sick. So, but anyway, let's see here. I'm just looking through here. Troy Bleeford saying Thursday with the Friend is top tier content in my opinion. Thank you very much. It is the thing that I'm most proud of. And in all honesty, I'm very proud of that. Just because I feel like my style of being able to talk to somebody has really progressed. I've gotten much better at it. And knowing how to again, there's a lot of guys that I talked to early on that I think it's time to go back and maybe start seeing some re-talking to some people. Tony's Figs was the second one. And even though he and I know so much, we talk so much, there's more that I could get out of him now. Allison Troy and all these other people. So speaking of Tony's Figs right here, member for 28 months. So you're going to get the
fucking Phil Collins.
And then we have Cooking with Eric saying, I remember when you took this away from me. I don't know. What did I take away from you? Member for 21 months here, and you're going to get a
fucking Phil Collins.
And it was sent to me that Phil Collins, I guess, is pretty much he has to have help all the time. I guess he is that sick. So it's getting harder and harder for me to think that one day they will reach out and he'll want to be on Thursday with a Friend. I have a feeling he's probably never going to come on the show. But that was sent over to me. And I recently posted the picture of Olivia. I don't know if you guys, if anyone saw it. Nolan here, a member for 27 months.
Fucking Phil Collins.
But I had a picture of Olivia. That's my daughter, and she was just. Let's see if I can pull it up quickly here. Let's see here if I can find it really quickly. But she was laying on the couch and she had this black sweatsuit on. And I'm like, do you have a black shirt? Why? I'm like, because. And I had her put on my shoes. And she did this. Now, this is the type of relationship that my daughter and I have. So she put on my white shoes. She already had this sweatsuit on. And I'm like, you need some. I'm like, I don't know what to do for the white stick. And the moment I said it, I was looking at this air freshener and I knew that's what she was going to grab. And sure enough, she grabbed it. And then she went and got the figure because she wanted to be able to do the pose. So, and I didn't want to just drop this out there because then people will be like, what the hell? What the hell is this about? But she grabbed the air freshener, and there were some pretty good there were uh there were some pretty good comments on there, and the fact that I didn't drop it with a Phil Collins album or a Phil Collins song, I kicked myself. Like, damn it! How did I not even think about that? Grizzlehorn jumping in here, cooking with Eric, saying I nailed it. Nolan again. This like Olivia has no shame, which is awesome. It seems kind of weird, but it's like she has no shame and she loves doing stupid stuff like that. So I hope she continues to do that her entire life, no matter what it is. Billy Boy's Toys jumping in here. We have Paul Morales also jumping in here. And Keanu Lee says, I can't tell them apart. What are you trying to show us? It's the exact same picture. But yeah, I enjoy that. And she's done a few things, and again, anyone that's been following the channel, I've had on Thursday with a friend. She'll walk in whenever she wants. She's really good because she knows when I'm doing Thursday with a friend. She can't, I don't want her to interrupt unless she has to do something. But she has created so much content, including why I have all these rulers in case she ever needs a ruler. The fucking Phil Collins. Welcome to the Creamy, all that stuff. So anyway, I did want to drop all that. And then he says, that's too punk. You gotta get a sound drop on point. You know what? Maybe I can put the fucking Phil Collins or Welcome to the Creamery with the Daredevil look. I can try that. Cooter's Garage jumping in here. Anyway. Yeah, that's about it. Quickly, a little news. Hasbro earlier announced that they have a Street Fighter agreement, and this is going to be for the movie Street Fighter. So Jada Toys will still have specific Street Fighter 2. So if anyone is wondering what happens to Jada Street Fighter, it sounds like they'll probably keep that for now at least. But I guess Hasbro and the Street Fighter movie, which again, your Hasbro, you need to continue to get different properties, and I fully understand that. It'll probably be like a Ghostbuster property. Doesn't really last very long. I don't know about that new movie. I know people seem to be excited about it. I don't know. I actually like the Mortal Kombat movie, the one that was on, I think it was HBO Max, and I'm not a Mortal Kombat fan, but I thought they did it pretty well. We'll see. The original Street Fighter movie was not so good. I guess not so good would be the best way to put it. But it was entertaining. It was entertaining for sure. Not in a good way. Stu for lunch jumping and saying greetings to the Punk Man and chat room folks. Hi Ken too. Oh, and you know what? Make sure everyone say hi to Ken. We don't want to miss saying hi to Ken, as we know what happens if you don't say hi to Ken. All hell will break loose. Hi, it's me. He says, watch Hasbro make figures far less quality than what Jada already has out. Well, they're going to be the same quality as what we're going to get, with Marvel Legends and Classified. And if you consider that to be less quality, then that's what you're going to have. I'll say it again, I truly do believe this when it comes to business, stuff like this. Hasbro is about making millions of dollars, not thousands, where I think someone like Jada Toys, they're happy making a smaller profit. There's also a smaller company. They're okay with making a smaller profit off a specific property than what Hasbro is. And they know that they have to put more into their quality and more into their figures. It's going to be hard. The Street Fighter figures from Jada Toys, they've been top notch. Very few complaints about it. There's going to be repaints on at least every single figure, if not multiple times. But yeah, I don't see Hasbro doing better than what they're doing. just because of that. But that's just, that's how that corporation is going to run. And you see that a lot, right? That's what you're going to get from, I don't want to put down like big motor companies, but the big motor companies, the cars, they're mass producing them compared to Ferrari, Lamborghini, Jaguar, and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of where you're going to get that. You're going to get a higher quality, but the price point is where you have to look at it and be like, why is Jada still at a $30 for a figure and Hasbro is creeping up to that? And maybe you feel like their quality is not the same. So, Into Mystery says people are worried they will be Black Series quality, I think. Now, I don't have enough Black Series to really speak on their quality. The few Black Series that I have, they are what they are. But I'm also not outside and messing around with them all that often. So they kind of just sit up there. There's a few Mandalorians. I do like the Darth Vader that I have. He's somewhere back there. I think that's an actual awesome Black Series figure, and I use them with so many different things. But I Black Series that I have, I don't feel are awful, but it looks like the guys in charge now are trying to improve articulation and do a better job, which is good. That's what they should be doing. Even though you have a property license and it costs you money to do that, you should be doing good quality. Just there's no doubt about that. So Jay Soul Arts jumping in here say, will they be better or worse than the D&D movie figs? Well, I can honestly say that I don't have any of those. So I can't speak to that. It also depends on what team is doing it too. I fully do believe that you have more leeway with Classified only because they own G.I. Joe. And I think that the G.I. Joe, what they did with that, what that team did with the articulation, sculpts, it made Marvel Legends better. Marvel Legends, they're looking down the hall and going, we have to do something, because there are people that are not G.I. Joe fans that are now becoming G.I. Joe fans and stopping buying our product. And I think they did that. They started kicking ass. And now I think Star Wars is looking at it going, hey, we have the property. Like, we have the property, Star Wars. We need to do better than that. So, and Darth Burke is saying, yeah, stupid single elbow Black Series. And that is one thing I can say. There is no need in this day and age to have single jointed elbows or knees. All right. I'm with you 100%. That is still a mystery. It makes no sense to me why they would do that. And it does prevent articulation and posing and stuff like that. So I'm with you 100% there. MCR says, I have heard so many bad comments about the D&D figures. I have too. I just said I have not had one, so I can't speak to it. But I have not heard good things about them. Clint Jorgensen jumping in here saying D&D cartoon figures or Happy Meal toys quality. Again, I don't have any, so I can't speak on that. But I'm also not one of those. Again, I've said it before. Just because my experience with something, like most of my female figures, I've had good experiences with. I had a bad experience with the original CoverGirl, and I had a bad experience with what's her face? The yellow girl. I can't think of her name. The yellow suited girl. She's not really yellow. I can't think of her name. She had a broken elbow too. But the Zorana I had no issues with. But I'm not dumb enough to sit up here and see all these reviews. Helix, thank you very much, Into Mystery. I'm not one of those people that's going to sit up here and say, well, I don't believe you. There's too many complaints. There's too many videos where people had an issue with Zorana's arm coming off. And it's the exact same issue that happened, with my original CoverGirl. So I'm never going to be one of those people that stand up here and go, listen, this is bullshit. It's not really what happened. Yeah, it really, there was an issue. It was a true issue for sure. 610 Yo Joe Daddy jumping in here. Actually, he was up here first saying, "What's up, Punk? What's up, fellas? Y'all smash that like button and subscribe." Yes, please do. I appreciate it. 70 people watching. Make sure you also jump in there and take a look at the again 85 votes in the poll, yet 42 likes. I will once again say it. I don't know how anyone goes and votes, but then doesn't hit like. Anyway, but yeah, that's what Street Fighter. That's what Hasbro is going to be doing with Street Fighter. I haven't looked too much into it. It popped up. They were talking about it in the Circle of Jerks in our chat. I mean, I would have seen it obviously on Instagram. I had my show done, yesterday. I have all the slides done, but I always try and look because maybe something pops, and I'm glad nothing did, because then I have to add things to the slides, and it's just not a lot of fun. But anyway, like Troy Believer saying, like and subscribe, Punk. So again, 70 people watching right now. I'm going to reiterate. I will say this later on. If you are a channel member, when the show is over, or even just kind of jot it down, go to go to my videos and search comments. It's only for channel members. I read off a bunch of mean comments. Most of them are mean. Some are just comments I might not understand. The first one was 2 years ago, this February 24. It was kind of fun going back and realizing, wow, I cannot believe that these have been that I started this that long ago. I only did 4. Again, I don't get as many mean comments as I used to, and they also get lost in the fray. YouTube, sometimes you just kind of lose all your comments. So anyway, that's that for right now. That's for all the channel members. So, all right, quickly, let's we're gonna get into a little bit of toy news. Actually, a lot of toy news. But before we do, I'd like to take a nice little breather, and let's hear from this guy.
Welcome back to Late Night with Mothman. Oh man, we've had such a crazy ride so far with all the amazing guests and shows that we've watched throughout this 36-hour stream. And I want to make sure y'all know we got to keep donating. We got to keep getting them numbers up. Skeletor, what are you doing here? Skeletor has come for the circle jerk. Ooh. Come again? That's the plan. Skeletor, I think you're confused. There's no this is a Late Night with Mothman, so I don't know what you're referring to. Man, Tony's Figs told me I could meet 4 bald men here for a circle jerk. And Skeletor will not leave until he's satisfied. Skeletor, I think you might be confused with the show. It's called Circle of Jerks, and they're not on right now. Then they do a show like every week or every other week or something. I don't watch it. Fool! I promise you, Skeletor is not confused. Skeletor, I'm trying to tell you there's no circle jerk going on here right now.
I got this. Skeletor's. What you're looking for is it's back here in the back.
Yes, Skeletor will be satisfied. I don't even know what's happening anymore, guys. So maybe we just kick it back to the 36-hour live stream, and y'all just keep donating money for Toys for Tots. Yeah, Late Night with Mothman, I guess.
And that was from the Punkathon. In case you missed it, that's when I do a 36-hour stream, raising all this money for Toys for Tots. So that's what that was. We raised $3,600 this year, just so you guys know. Anyway, we're gonna talk some Motu, some Masters of the Universe. I think I'm the only toy tuber that didn't break down the Masters of the Universe trailer, although we talked about it on the Circle of Jerks. So I guess technically I was part of that, but I didn't really talk about it. And I'm not going to be talking about it now either. Alice and Troy jumping in here saying, I'm in the past. Brenda is the worst. Olivia is not very fond of Brenda right now. Matter of fact, she says she hates Brenda. All right. So, Masters of the Universe and Anti-Eternia He-Man, $115. This was the preview. This is the Mondo, 1/12th figure. I gotta say this. I remember reviewing the Anti-Eternia He-Man Origins figure, and it is just a black He-Man. I'm not talking about the race, but just a black He-Man, and I really like the figure. So this will be an interesting one. I don't know if they dropped any more pictures. They hadn't as of yesterday, and I didn't see any today. Again, I'm assuming you're going to see the same things that we got from the He-Man, the Mondo He-Man. So if you are interested in this, and again, I think right now, like if you're like, hey, I need to have Masters of the Universe, but I only want 1/12 scale, and I want just the best of the best. This is where you should be nitpicking. This is where you should be picking them up. There's not going to be too many, but they are expensive. You are looking at the price point of Mezco, and not everyone's willing to pay that much, and I fully understand that. But again, everything that I've seen from them, I think they do a really nice job. So if you are interested, Anti-Eternia He-Man, $115 is what the MSRP is. The Masterverse has been canceled. So this is one of those things where it's kind of canceled, but not really canceled. I need to, let's see if I can change my look here. Oh, didn't want that. Now I really can't see it. Nope, don't want that. Really can't see it. How do I remove this? I'm going to add this. There we go. Well, there are still Masterverse action figures in the pipeline for 2026. We will be transitioning our core offering to Chronicles later this year. We will, however, also have a number of special releases planned within the Masterverse Vintage Collection. So it's not a true killing off of the line the same way with Origins. And basically what they're doing is there'll probably still be some Masterverse figures, but they are now moving to the Chronicles, which is starting off with the He-Man movie. And again, I believe that these are going to be a little bit shorter of a scale, which kind of gives us a little bit of hope that if they are, what we're going to be looking at is the same scale that they're going to be doing the DC figures and they'll match up with Marvel Legends, because I think that is the best thing to do. They really need to move away from the 7-inch bucks, only because if you're going to do everything else in 6-inch and get away from the McFarlane size, and again, you may not want people going out and buying the Marvel Legends, but there are people that want Batman and Superman to be able to fight the Hulk and Captain America and Wolverine, and that's the best way to do it. And you're going to make people buy a different scale. So that's what I think is what we're actually going to be seeing here. They'll still have Masterverse figures, probably be on Mattel Creations, and they also have a pipeline for 2026. So you still have a full year of them. And again, speaking of Master Universe, Kenzo's creation, jumping in here, if you like Motu, you should be following Kenzo, him, Cobweb. They do a lot of Motu content, and I think most of you would enjoy it. All right, so this is the Masters of the Universe toy line. Now, these are 5.5-inch figures. This is not the Chronicle line, although some of them look similar. It took me a second to figure out, why certain things look different. So here's He-Man. Again, they're 5.5 scale, so they are meant to, if I'm understanding this correctly, they are meant to match up with the origins, but more with the cartoon collection origins where they're not in the squatty potty position. We know that causes a problem. That actually brings them down more to like a 5-inch scale when they're in the squatty potty position. But technically, they're like 5.5 inches. So there is He-Man, there is Beastman, and you can tell this is a line for kids. So there's a lot of people that are already saying that they think this movie is going to be a flop. I hope, and I don't think that this is true, but I hope that the best parts of the movie are not what they showed in the trailer. From what I've seen from the trailer, the people that have done the movie, they have done their research. They know Masters of the Universe, and either it is a love letter to it, or they've at least done their due diligence to look into stuff. So if this movie ends up being a flop, I don't think that it's going to be a flop because of the knowledge and what is put into it. I think it'll be more of a flop because people don't know what the product actually is. But this is a good way to start by giving you figures, giving kids seeing these on the shelves, saying, I want to go see this movie. Darth Burke said, I'm really excited for it. I am. And again, I'm hoping that the best parts of the movie aren't in the trailer. Like, I hope that's not like, wow, all the trailer had all the best parts. I don't think that it will, but let's hope it doesn't. So anyway, Sean Jones says, I haven't bought a He-Man since I was 7 or so. I might jump in on this new line, the adult scale. And again, I think that's what they're hoping for. So you have Beastman, and then we have poor Tila. Poor actress. This looks so bad. And it is the kids' line. But man, her eyes look like Brenda Walsh's. Looks like one is much higher than the other, except it's the opposite eyes. Brenda Walsh's other eye seemed to be higher. This looks absolutely awful. But yeah, this is more, again, the 5.5 line. And again, I'm sure guys like Kenzo and Cobweb, those guys, they're going to buy it. But I think if what you're going to look at, G.I. Joe Classified, they did those movie figures. I think that's what you're looking at. Not high quality, just something that's probably going to be the $10 to $15 range. I think it's going to be around the $15 range. So that is this Master of the Universe line. But this is the Chronicles line. And so far from what we're seeing, they actually look pretty good. So here's Triclops. Before anyone says, before Jeremy jumps in and says, my Triclops was not black. That's right, Jeremy. It wasn't. And you're still a racist. If you don't know you don't know who Jeremy is. Jeremy is from the G.I. Joe pages. And he recently creeped up again, telling everyone that how much he can afford the G.I. Joe Classified. Yes, everybody hates Jeremy. But anyway, so as we're looking here, he has a sniper rifle. I have no idea yet what his story is, because I don't remember him ever having a sniper rifle. Kind of does work with having only one eye, so I guess it does work pretty well. Troy Beliford says that Triclops could fit into Classified. And I believe there's supposed to be more of a scale of Classified rather than the Masterverse. Here is the Chronicles box. So you are getting a nice look at it. You get an actual look at the actual action figure, or the actual actor on it. Boxing again looks pretty plain, but it is what it is, right? If you're a fan of the movie, if you're a kid, you see this, it's a way to kind of sell it, I think. Brick says, I have the take on Triclops, or I love the take on Triclops. Skunkworks Studios jumping in here too, saying, sup, STT. All right. Here's the back of the box, so we're kind of taking a look at them. and I'll be interested to see the story that they're telling. I'll be 100% honest. I am excited. I'm pleasantly excited for what I saw. Again, that trailer, there's a lot of Easter eggs. Here is our Trap Jaw. Again, interesting to see how they're going to handle things. You know, this is such an interesting character, and to do it properly isn't going to be very easily in the movie. But I mean, you look at this guy and you can see what we had as kids, but in a modern take, done, in this day and age. So I'm excited, although I will say this, in the trailer, he looks a little thin, but I can't expect everyone to look like hulking steroid bodybuilders. And here he is with a knife, so he's kind of like the Bats. I'd rather have this guy leading my Bat army than Overkill. We'll talk about him later on. I don't know why it is so difficult for companies to get female face sculpts right. Allison Brie, I would be like, yeah, no, don't ask me to promote this figure. This looks so bad. This looks nothing like her. And again, there are certain things that you go, it doesn't really look like me, but I can kind of see it. No. And yes, the Celine Dion, again, she will be performing in Las Vegas, so you can see this exact outfit later on. Looks like PB Herman. Maybe straight to Ross. Who knows? Who knows how Ross gets their stuff. I've already heard people saying that, hey, you know what? This next G.I. Joe wave is going to Ross. I'll get it there. I know. Good luck. Nolan says, I'm hoping the final will end up looking a little better. No, this is the production figures. This is it, man. Here's Tila, and this one is better than the cheaper one, but still, I wouldn't say good. I still don't think, I still don't think that this is a good portrait of her. But I can actually go, okay, you know what? Yeah, maybe you missed a couple things. The Allison Brie, the Evil Lynn just doesn't, nothing at all. This is better, but it is what it is. Not good. And quickly, where was it? So Trey Believer says, hoping the final looks good. So is Allison Brie. Yes, she's. I saw her like she had it in hand. Then you get to this one here, and you're like, all right, good. And this looks like the actor, right? This fits him. Once again, Jeremy's like, my Man-at-Arms not black. Again, if you don't know Jeremy, just be thankful. Although I do have to say, if you look at his helmet, it kind of does have the Televiper helmet, just without the visor down. But I think this one actually looks pretty good. I mean, you can tell who the actor is. Of course, I can't think of his name for the life of me right now. And I do know who it is. I just can't think of his name right now. But again, you have his mace. He has a sidearm. The color scheme is there. The armor is all right there. But yeah, Idris Elba. Thank you very much. Black JK. Okay, I actually kind of see J.K. Simmons. I can actually kind of see J.K. Simmons right there. And Cobra Commander says Tila isn't going to believe Man-at-Arms is not her dad. So that was one of the things we talked about And who knows if that's the same story that they're going to have. They may rewrite the story. And it was one of the things that I did bring up. I'm not a huge fan of race swapping or sex swapping well-known established characters. I do feel that Man-at-Arms is a well-established character. But I really like Idris Elba too, so it doesn't bother me at all. I think I'll survive, because again, this could be a completely different story and how it's told. I hope it is. I hope this is one of those ones where I watch it and I'm like, you know what, I'm happy with this. But again, the story of Master of the Universe has been rewritten a couple times to be a little bit different. So that's what they can, hopefully lean on. Here's the packaging of it. You see his mace. He has his gun. He has a couple other things. Maybe there's a couple hands, punchy hands. He's a guy that definitely needs punchy hands because he will definitely be punching people. And then we get the back of it. And I'm glad, again, this is a nice interpretation of the mace that he always had. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing how this movie is done. So, and then we have Skeletor. Now, I doubt that they will, but I'm hoping that we don't ever see Jared Leto. I hope he is always like this. I'm not a fan of Jared Leto. I think he ruins a lot of projects that he's in. I just don't find him an actor I ever want to see play a role. Clearly, I would say I'm in the minority, or else he wouldn't constantly get cast in roles, because there are some people like Tom Cruise who Allison may not like. But people want to see him. I never hear anyone that says, like, I need to see Jared Leto in another role. But anyway, we'll find out. The Havoc staff looks awesome. He's going to have his Havoc magic, or I don't know if it's just called Havoc. It's one of those things where I don't know if it's considered Havoc magic, and maybe one of the Motu guys can tell me, or if it's just called Havoc and it's specific magic. But the figure looks good. I actually like the blues on it. It's a different blue than what we're used to seeing Skeletor. And the sheen on it, I think, looks really, really good. So I'll be interested to see how this all plays out. And then we get Battle Cat, or maybe you want to call him Cringer. From the look of the trailer, it looks like Cringer isn't going to be like a scaredy cat. And I was watching, I want to say it was Brick and Mega J, and they were talking about it, and like, maybe, you're going to see the scared Cringer when Adam was younger. And obviously when he goes back to Eternia, Cringer is no longer he's not always scared, which you need to adapt it. Cringer was funny, same with Orko for the cartoon, but I don't think that really plays when you come to this live action. And I hope that's exactly what they do. I really do. Troy Bleaford says Fight Club just because he gets his shit rocked. It has been a long time, and I didn't realize who Jared Leto was in that. So I'd have to rewatch that to remember how he gets his ass beat. But Cringer looks pretty good. And here we have He-Man on Battle Cat riding it. So this is going to be, again, we see, and again, I said I wasn't going to talk about the trailer yet. I've kind of mentioned the trailer as we go along. There's a shot where you see Cringer or Battle Cat snarling, and I think it would be awesome if it is he fights Panther, and the helmet, the actual mask, is something he takes off of Panther. I think that would be a cool story arc where he fights Panther, and he actually beats him and actually takes his helmet from him. I think that would actually be pretty cool. But yeah. And it says, why is the tip of his tail red? It's not. It looks like it's orange. So maybe it's a stripe on it is what it looks like. Yeah, so it looks like, look at that striped tail. Yeah, so it looks like it's a striped tail at the end. Venom Spawn says, knowing Jared Leto is playing Skeletor, it makes me nervous for the movie. Yes, because we've seen all this other stuff that he's done, and again, no one's ever watched the movie and said Jared Leto made that better. All right, and then we have He-Man here, and again, I had to look because this He-Man and the 5.5 He-Man look pretty similar. You can tell one is more scaled down, but it looks like they actually made it so he can hold the sword almost straight up, which has always been something lacking when it comes to He-Man and the Thundercats. And you're not going to get a lot of accessories. That is the one thing that I think is kind of disappointing, but maybe these figures come in at $20. I don't think they're going to be. Kenzo says, Leto was awesome and never mind. Face does look similar to Arnold. His body does not. He's not nearly that big. Highest Me says $24.99. That's what I thought. I didn't see any prices. I don't know if you know that for sure. That's what I kind of assumed that they would be. But for what you're getting, 20 probably would have been better. But yeah. MCR, the box looks a bit empty. And I was actually, when I was looking at Man at Arms, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, there's his mace. You can see the sidearm, and then it looks like he has two fists. Brick Something says $24.99 and $40 for Battle Cat, which, if I remember correctly, I think the original Masterverse Battle Cat was also $40. I feel like that's right. I could be wrong. Someone could tell me. But anyway, that's your He-Man. Here's the back of it. And again, I'm excited for the movie. The figures, I'll probably pass on, as I'm not into Motu. But you may see one that fits. Again, I think the Triclops looks really good. I do think Skeletor looks good. But again, that's one of those things. If you get Skeletor, you kind of have to get He-Man. So, and there'll be more than enough people, more than enough toy tubers that are reviewing these, picking them up. So if you're interested, you can watch some of their stuff. I have no problem telling you to go watch Cobb Webb. He is a huge huge Motu guy and does all kinds of reviews on it. So, and Brick says, I don't remember what Masterverse Battle Cat was. Only remember the bargain prices I paid for an extra. I remember he was like $4. I swear to God. And I didn't buy one because I'm like, I didn't have any Masterverse figures, and there was a whole shitload. I want to say it was at Target. They were like $4, and I kicked myself for not buying one just because it was $4. And I'm like, do I really have space? Do I really need this? So stupid. Kenzo says it was 40 until I found them for 12. Then I bought 12 of them. This is again, this is where some of us collectors kind of lose our minds. All right. So then we get Blast Attack. This is Mattel Creations exclusive. I believe Kenzo actually dropped a video of Blast Attack. $22. I don't remember or know anything about this character. This is an Origins line, so 5.5. You can see he gets cut in half. Again, I know nothing about this. I don't remember if this was an original figure from the Motu line. And I've done a lot of praising of the Origins figures feeling like their head sculpts and some of the stuff they've done for the price point is really good. Yeah, I look at this figure and I just think he looks dumb. But it's also not the product that I am into. And yeah, Kenzo is saying, yeah, he was an OG. So yeah, and I don't remember, and I readily admit that. But if you want him, he is available. Like I said, I believe Kenzo has a video of it in his car, if I'm correct. But yeah, this is one of those ones where, again, if you want to get him, pick him up. He splits in two. He has a penis pump. I mean, a pump of something. Why is it a penis pump? Kenzo says he's definitely not my favorite. But yeah, I know nothing about this guy. Oh, he is jump roping. So here you go, retro play, blast attack. I still do like what they do with their origin stuff. I just think it looks really nice. It is the same style packaging as we had as a kid, so you definitely do get those feels. And then you get the back art. There's no cross sell anymore due to the fact that it's Mattel Creations, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I think actually that's probably how it should be now. And then here's the mini comic, which I'm glad they've continued the mini comic. It's just how it should be. It tells a story. This is something what the file cards for G.I. Joe used to do that we no longer get. So, all right. I think that's it for my Motu stuff. Marvel Legends. Nothing really new, though this did drop last week. The deluxe Deadpool with Dogpool for $40. This was the one I know a lot of people were waiting for because of Dogpool and obviously the accessories. Now, once again, there's people that kind of went, dude, really? Like you just dropped the Maximum Deadpool. Again, this is from Deadpool and Wolverine. But people want Dogpool and people want nunchucks of Wolverine's adamantium armor. So here's his back, the back of it, and his little his heart and everything. So back of the box, and here's the wave. This is actually a pretty good wave, and I know a lot of people are not into the MCU figures, and they are made differently. They're not as good as most of the Marvel Legends. I didn't believe that until I really started buying some, and I'm like, yeah, the plastic is different, the articulation is different. There is some different things on it for sure. Yeah, I want the Wolverine skull. I mean, and that's just it right here. So the Hulk fists are actually pretty cool. You know, my son had those. Those Hulk fists. They made like a smashing sound when you hit something. We get Dogpool, who is just a plastic piece, but you know, again, no different than Poly and General Ledger. The Wolverine adamantium nunchucks. Again, if you haven't seen Wolverine or Deadpool and Wolverine, you are missing out. It was a fun movie. I would say it's a good movie, but it's a lot of fun. Explains a lot. And this is the one part where they did it right with that movie to let you know that that arc of that Wolverine was truly over. The Wolverine, and spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't seen this, the spoiler alert is that Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine is not the one from the X-Men Fox movies that we all fell in love with. His story arc ended. He does not come back to life. He gets another one. Here's his skull that he uses. Again, so a lot of fun here. Same time says Hulk fists are better than Dogpool. Well, I think you can do more with the Hulk fists. But I think people like the Dogpool. But I think, yes, when it comes to the Hulk fist, I think there's going to be a lot of things that you can do to have some fun with it. The Skullverine accessories are almost worth the price alone, and this is why this one is going to sell. Uh, there's Wolverine skull that he's kicking. I don't think you'd want to kick an adamantium skull. I feel like that would hurt your foot, but everything here. Again, the dog pool. Again, a nice little accessory. Now, does it seem smart to have a $40 Deadpool come out right after the Maximum Deadpool? Well, they're two different properties. They're both Marvel Legends, but one is the MCU. And this is where you need to cash in. You need to continue to cash in on the figures while you can, or the characters. As we know, there's so many Deadpools, and I have a feeling we're going to see that many more Deadpools, because people are going to want an army of Deadpools after seeing, what they've done. There's the two fists, his swords, which look better than what actually came with the Maximum Deadpool. Those swords were actually pretty weak. I have another Deadpool that used the same swords, and I'm just like, yeah, these aren't the greatest at all. Maximum MCU line. No, that's kind of what this is. But I gotta say, for the amount of things that they give you you can't really reuse this stuff, right? Like, this is kind of like a one and done. Like, what else do you use a Wolverine adamantium, head and nunchucks and these claws? Like, you can't reuse them. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't know how they use that tooling elsewhere. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll find somewhere to use it. But this is kind of like a maximum MCU Deadpool, but you're not going to get the same articulation. I'm telling you right now, if you don't have the Maximum Deadpool, it is a great figure. It is a lot of fun. You might think that it's priced a little too high. That's for you to decide. Again, for me, when I look at the price, how much fun do I actually have with the figure? I'll tell you again, Maximum Hulk. I love the damn figure. I've had so much fun with it. Just don't leave it in a posed position where it may start to rip the chest. But I think most people know that. Not everyone. Yes, this is $40, $39.99. And I don't know if this is one that you're gonna find on clearance. He has the gold guns. I'm just gonna say it. This is P yellow. This is dehydrated P yellow, not gold, not gold eagles. All right. These are P yellow guns. Okay. They are not gold desert eagles. And then we have Deadman Juan jumping in here, who also will be a guest in the near future, not this month, on Thursday with a friend. But anyway, and 3-star says, for $40, they could have at least used metallic gold paint. Possibly, but as I already kind of mentioned, there's a lot of new tooling in here that who knows what they're going to be able to reuse again. And I know that's not a concern of yours or mine, but this is how, again, when sometimes you criticize Hasbro or you criticize what the team's doing, we all have to look at how Hasbro actually handles things. Gun looks like butter. I can see that too. So, and here's Dogpool. This is head. Maybe his head turns a little bit. Or it's just stationary like Polly. Either way, I think this is one that people are going to be buying. I can see this one definitely selling out. Tony says, if your P is that yellow, you got problems. I concur to that. I will concur to that. And look, this asshole is here. Toy Optics is jumping in here. Yes. All right. So here's everything that you're going to get. And as we can see, the the skull from Wolverine actually comes off. So it doesn't look like it's fixed onto it, but the swords actually look better. We have two different nunchucks, one in like a spinning position, one kind of already out. A couple different hands, which I actually think we may actually get with. I don't have them here. I think a couple of those hands actually come with the Maximum Deadpool. But we're also going to get the Hulk fist. Those I can see you reusing elsewhere. But the nunchucks, the skull, the Wolverine claws, and Dogpool, I don't know how you really ever reuse that. So, but yeah. And Toy Optics is saying, sign me up for Dogpool with Deadpool accessories. And again, when you buy this, I think you're going to see a lot of people using the Maximum Deadpool. Because you're probably going to get better posing out of the Maximum Deadpool than this one. Dan says, if they don't do something with that dog again soon, the dog is going to die. Good luck finding a replacement. They should have found a less unique looking dog. Well, he did adopt the dog. He did adopt that dog. CGI does everything. All right. Four Horsemen dropped something completely new, and I had to talk to Oz about it when I was on Ostradamus Toys on Saturday. So, this new line is the Infinite Legions line by Joe Mangialone. He's Flash from the original Spider-Man. Now he is just a huge Dungeons and Dragons guy. So this is not Mythic Legions. This is Infinite Legions. This is a property that these are characters that he created in Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm just realizing now that his last name got broken up because it didn't go over far enough. I thought I shrunk it, but I obviously did not. So these are new sculpts. For the most part, they use the same system as all the other Four Horsemen, Mythic Legions, but these fit more with the Mythic Legions, but they are different. So this is Archon the Cruel. Right now, he's $75 on pre-order, I think, until the 22nd of February. And then you have to wait for him to come out. When he goes up on retail, he's going to be $99.99. So if you know you want this, if you're like, hey, I like the other things the Mythic Legions do, or I like the things that Four Horsemen does, or I like this type of stuff, order this now. You're going to save yourself $25. This is not something that I'm looking at doing. Again, if Classified did this where, hey, you know what? Classified figures are $20, but you're not going to get them for a year. I'd sign me up, man. I'm all for it. I do think these look good, as we can kind of see everything, on him. He has his axe. This guy does stand. I want to say, I think they were saying 9 inches, but with his legs being bent how they are, I believe he's closer to, it said between 7 and 8. Ed might remember if he's in here. And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I have no problem with someone kind of correcting me. But a nice, decent looking figure. And again, they're going to use the exact same articulation that all the Four Horsemen stuff use. Sergeant Red's jumping in here saying those figs are sweet. We will be getting them. Yeah, so they will be available for anyone that is a Four Horsemen authorized dealer, which there aren't very many. A matter of fact, I believe Sergeant Red's is the only one in Michigan that is an official Four Horsemen dealer. Wade Hollison jumping in here saying that dude was married to Sophia. Was he? Was he married to Sophia? She seems much older than him. Not that she looks bad. Not that she looks bad. Devil Dog says, dude, Archon is awesome. He has a crazy power move at the end of the Critical Role campaign one fight. And right there, you lost me. I was with you right up to Dude Arkin is awesome. And then you lost me when you said he has a crazy power move at the end of Critical Role Campaign 1. But again, I also understand like this is part of like a Dungeons and Dragons style that they're doing, which works out with they have their own role play coming out. But here's everything that he does come with. And again, on Ostradamus Toys, I was like, you can see that his hand is different. He cuts off someone's hand. He fuses it to himself. I'm like, dude, you just dropped so much geek juice. There's so much fucking geek juice. But again, you can see the fire breath, 2 different heads. You can see the big tail in the back, which should help him to stand. And then you have these new magic effects. This specific arm, again, I know nothing about it. SCS Dog, member for 3 months. So you know what we're going to drop? We're going to give you the
Fucking Phil Collins.
And I promise you, if Phil Collins does pass away, and he looks like he's about to, not that I want it, it will stay. Billy Boy's Toy says, my wife is 15 years younger than me. But it's and I'm not saying, again, I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's different. It seems different when a woman is that much older than a man. But Tony's saying there's a 4 years difference. But again, I guess when you look at Joe Manganiello, however you say his name, he looks younger than what you think that he is. And Sophia seems like she's older, probably because she was in Modern Family, and it seems like she's been around so long. And I feel like she's one of those people that you think is older, but looks super, super young. Sarge says D is 8 years older than me. So this is how I know this is John and not D. This is how I know this is John and not D. If you haven't watched your Thursday with a Friend, you need to go watch it. All right, so here is his fire breath, and again, you can see that tail, and even they're using that tail to stand him. And I have a feeling with the weight, how those legs are going to move, it's definitely going to be he's going to be top heavy. So depending on how you do the joints, hopefully they're doing something with some ratcheting so it stays together. And it does look like it does have soft goods, which is customary for most of the Mythic Legions. But yeah. And then Tony said, I was robbing the cradle. My baby mama is 11 years younger than me. So. I'm going to keep my opinion to myself on this. Devil Dog says, Todd, he cut off his own hand, put the hand of Vecna in his place, used his lay on his hand to heal it, and then teleport it out like a boss. That is exactly what Oz said when I saw the geek juice literally start pouring. Again, you can see when you ask a geek something and they feel, oh my God, I have the power to tell someone. And again, I'm sure I do it with G.I. Joe. But anyway, if you are interested, again, $75 right now on pre-order. They probably won't come out for a year. I could not see when they were expected to do it or expected to be out. So, but here you go. If you want it, you have to go to Store Horseman. That's where you can pick these up at, or pre-order them. You're not really picking them up. All right. Then again, everything looks really good in the background. Again, the guy that does all the photography. What 1/12? Someone will tell me who the photographer is. He does amazing work. So, but there you go. Let's get to the girl. No, look, here's the stuff again. How do I put that in twice? All right, and then we have Oksana. She's $50 right now for pre-order, $59.99 when she comes out on retail. 1/6 shooter. Thank you very much. Thank you, and he does amazing work. He really does. All right, so this to me, I mean, it just seems like a Evelyn homage, but that's something that Mythic Legions does. This is again someone else's property, so I don't know if it's supposed to be. She looks amazing. Supposedly, this is supposed to have different articulation, some new articulation, but still using the same system. We will see. I know the Four Horsemen have been attempting to improve their articulation. It has always been the downfall. It has always been not a downfall. It's always been a setback, in my opinion. But this is one that I will probably pick up at Sergeant Red's when it comes out, because again, I'm not, as much as I'm planning on getting this. If I buy this for $50, I'm spending like, I don't know, $10, $14, $18, whatever on shipping and handling. I'll just wait for it to show up at Sergeant Red's. And again, I may change my mind by the time it comes out, but I think she looks awesome. You see the soft goods, almost everything is wired. I'm assuming it definitely looks like there is a wire through it, so you're going to be able to get different flowing effects. And Matthew here's she's going to go great with Conan. I don't think he meant gray, but hey, if they're together long enough, they will go great together. And Dan Olton says, "Did they already do an homage to Evelyn figure? Because I'm getting Evelyn vibes from." I am too. I believe they did. Someone else here, I'm sure, can probably tell you if they did. But because this is a different property, I don't think it is an Evelyn. But I feel like there's got to be some. And then we have Ronnie Trickshot jumping in saying, "Good day, Tuesday at work in Australia." It is not Tuesday yet. Don't start gaslighting me. Here she is with her down hair. I hope that this is an easier figure to review and to look at than Red Sonja. As much as I liked it, you start feeling like a pervert when everything keeps moving and shifting. But yeah, I fully get the Evelyn vibes on this, and who knows? Now again, and how much the Four Horsemen have their saying to how they want it to be compared to just what Joe is giving, because it is technically his property. But I think this is going to be one of those ones that it's going to sell, man. People are going to be interested in this. They're going to be excited for this. So this is one I plan on getting for sure. Venom Spawn says, "This is how Evelyn should have looked in the Masters of the Universe movie." Well, I will say this, with Alison Brie playing her, she has not had a problem showing off her body, so this probably would not have been an issue. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the Netflix show Glow, and you will pretty much see everything. I believe that she shows that pretty much almost everything. Just saying. Not that I would have ever watched something for that. Glow was actually a really good show. That should not have gotten canceled. But here you go. Again, 1/6 shooter. I almost said Shooting the Galaxy, but he does all the Hasbro stuff. There you go. So it says she was smoking hot in Deadpool. Now that's not Alison Brie. That was who's playing the sorceress. I cannot think of her name. I can't think of what her name is. Actually, I can see her name. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Tony will jump in really quick because he gets all like hot and heavy when it comes to her. Bobby Wool jumping in and saying, finally gave up on Buffy and now watching Glow. I've already watched Glow, and that's something I'm going to watch with my daughter. That is not something. We have finished Buffy and Angel. We are on 90210. And then I think we might watch Charmed after, just because I've never watched Charmed, but I want Olivia to get the full effect of how people hated Shannon Doherty, that she could get kicked off 2 shows. Pop Blender jumping in here saying Punk only watches Alison Brie for her intelligence. Yes. I will say this: when she was on Community, she was not the hottest one on. I always really liked the blonde. I can't think of her name. There he is. There, Morena. I can't say her name, but you guys know who she is. She was on V. She was in Deadpool. She's so hot. All right. So there you go. If you want this figure, again, you can pre-order right now, $50. It'll be $60 when it hits the MSRP. But yeah. And here's everything that she's going to come with. I really do like the magic effects. Those are new for sure. The head sculpts, I have to say, when it comes to female head sculpts, I don't think anyone does it better than the 4 Horsemen. I will say this: I think a lot of I truly do think a lot of the Marvel Legends female head sculpts are top notch, but 4 Horsemen, they do it the best. Like, honest to God, like, they're the one company that is like, we're not gonna fuck up with the female head sculpts. The female head portraits, they're gonna look good. But yeah. And then a little bit of Skeletron. So this is going to be the Zolicon exclusive, the Zargonaut. I'm guessing this is going to be a $25 figure. I did not put the price on here because I didn't know for sure. Now, once again, this is in association with Grindstone Toys. That is who is making Call Sign Longbow. This is another repaint of the Ghost figure, which is what the Skeletron figure is. If you like the O-ring figures that they've done, then you're really going to enjoy these. I've mentioned it before when I opened up that Skeletron figure. That was the closest I've come to feeling like a 8-year-old kid again, opening up a G.I. Joe Real American Hero figure. Just the way the packaging was done. He talked about it. He had one, the rattle in it. That's how I remember those. These are fun figures. Again, he comes with pretty much everything that the Skeletron figure came with. Same backpack. Looks like the same sword. I actually have, that little weapon right here because he needs to go back down. I keep forgetting to take it downstairs. Different head sculpt, but it is a repaint. And it is a repaint of the Ghost. And again, once the Call Sign Longbow stuff comes out, we'll start seeing more stuff from them. But until then, I think this is where we're going to see Skeletron use their molds to do like the Yeti, this Zargonaut, which is an homage. If Ken was here, Ken would tell you that what it's an homage to. And it does look like the sword glows in the dark. And they do a pretty good job with the glow in the dark stuff. Everything fits on his person. So the gun is integrated into it. It kind of pops on the same way that Cobra Commander did with the Real American Hero. And if you like O-ring stuff and you don't have any of the Skeletron figures or the Ghost figures, you definitely need to. I think this is one of those ones where, again, you'll really enjoy it if you want something to go with your Joes. Or again, you're in the the 3.75 O-ring stuff. And Troy Bleeford says, pretty sure I'm going to be ordering that Roboskull here in 2 days. You're talking about the vehicle. It is well worth it. You will not regret it. If anyone does not have a RoboSkull and they are on the fence, so like, hey, this $250 and whatever it's going to cost to ship it, that's expensive. Is it worth it? It is. It is so worth it. It is such a good vehicle. And again, I told him what sold it for me was Destro in it. Now, obviously, we have a lot of classified vehicles, so I don't need Destro in it. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever put a Destro. Oh, I think I put Destro in it right at the beginning. And a matter of fact, I haven't really even messed with it and put it with my Skeletron figures because I don't have a place for it in there. It's been with Pilot Baroness. Debo DNA jumping in here saying, "What's up, everyone?" If you guys don't know, Debo is doing a lot of 3D printed stuff that he is now selling. So if you go to his Instagram, you should be able to find from his Instagram. And Debo, if I'm wrong, tell me in the chat. But you should be able to find from his Instagram his Etsy page where he's starting to do 3D prints that he is selling. So if you are interested, check him out. Good guy. He's a punk rocker, a straight edge punk rocker. Like seriously. And again, we're like friends in real life. So Billy Boy's Toy says, I don't like the RoboSkull or Skeletor. Hey, it's not for everyone. Okay. And Billy, it is okay to be wrong at times. No, it's not for everyone. And again, I will readily admit that. But I will say this, whether you like it or not, the price for $250 and what you get, the detail, that is what makes it worth it. Now, again, if you're like, hey, I don't really like it, then it's not worth it for you. But when you look at the detail, the way the plastic is, the translucent plastic, the way everything moves, it is worth $250 as an actual toy. But again, if you don't like it, if you're not interested, now I don't know what you don't like about the Skeletron stuff. Again, everything is up to, what you like. But their figures they're really good. I mean, they are real. And I don't make any money off it. But again, not for everyone. Gun Bunny says, RoboSkulls are awesome and awesome to customize. Yeah, and you do a wonderful job with them. Seriously, you do a wonderful job. If you haven't checked out Gun Bunny's page and what he does, you need to check out his stuff. Chaz the Guru jumping in here saying, I still haven't opened up my figures. They look great though. Yes. And Billy says, yeah, I don't know anything about them. And again, and that's where you have to do your research and again, and again, if you're like, hey, I don't want to get into another line, then dude, I fully understand that. But again, I do think that most people would absolutely love that. Billy Boy says Punk is the Vanguard worth all the upgrades. And I won't buy anything from that company. Would I say now after reviewing the Vanguard? And again, I didn't buy it. I reviewed it before. I think for $110 with all the upgrades, it is well worth it. It's not something that I want in my collection or something that I would really use, but at $110 for everything that does come with it and the quality of it, I think 110 is worth it. If that's something that you want to invest in. Again, people thought I was too hard on it and I was really mean. Again, I really didn't say too many bad things about the Vanguard when I reviewed it. Everything I said was actually my honest opinion. It's not the worst vehicle in the world. It's just not something that I thought was worth $185 at the time. $110 because he produced too many of them and you have all these extra accessory kits and you can't sell accessory kits unless you sell that. Yeah, probably worth it. All right. We're looking at his back for way too long. So here's everything that you're going to get. Again, the rifle, the gun, the weapon, the sword, and the backpack, all the same. The buck is the same, different heads, different masks. I'll probably be ordering this, or I'll pick it up at Joe Fest one way or another. I don't think it's going to be something that I'm not able to get my hands on but I am really enjoying all of this stuff. So, and then we have a picture of the 6-inch Skeletron, and I have a couple of these on order. I am excited. I am ready for these. I know he is ready for them. We had a nice, I don't remember if it was while we were on air. They're all frustrated. All these companies, Operation Recall, Call Sign Longbow, Skeletron, they all are very frustrated with how long everything is taking. They just sent out something saying that, Chinese New Year is coming, and the company is switching factories, but to a bigger facility, and they're going to be able to hire more people, or they're employing more people, so they'll be able to push out stuff faster. But they are way behind. He was very open about it, and it doesn't make any of them happy. And I know a lot of people want to point out, like, hey, they're taking our money. This is an unfortunate thing when it comes to this type of stuff. So it sucks for them. And I feel like, I've met Ben. I like him personally. I consider him a friend. But yeah, these guys are definitely, they want this stuff to come out. And Matthew saying, been waiting for this 6-inch and 4-inch and the RoboSkull book. Then I can put the Kickstarter to bed. And then eventually they'll start having more stuff. But if this figure is anything along the lines of the quality of the other figures, I think we're all going to be very, very happy. MCR says that robot skeleton looks great. The RoboSkull. Tony says that is dope. I'll chrome that shit up. No, I think that would look cool too. And then here comes not Carlos or not Rachel, Carlos Salinas. That Skeletron figure looks amazing. They did, and again, we've seen them in person, like at the shows. They really do look that good. Again, they found a way to make things work. So, but that's it. And then we're about to get into some G.I. Joe, right? But before we do, I want to take a quick break because, well, I've been talking for quite some time. So let's find something to play. What do I have here? I got something for you.
Let me tell you something, me Gene. So I'm sitting at home Monday night and I get this DM from some guy named Tony, Legend Series. And he says, what you doing, Hawkster? I said, I'm watching Monday Night Raw. What are you doing? He's like, you got to turn on this thing called Monday Night Toy Ramblings on YouTube with this punk with toys. He's talking about you. So I want to turn on over and hear what this fool is talking about. And I turn it on and all I hear him say is that he was at WrestleMania 3 with 93,173 of his best friends. And he was there when he watched me pick up that big, mean, ugly giant. And when I slammed him to the ground, he said he felt the Silverdome shake all of Pontiac, Michigan. It shook. And that's when I realized that this guy, him and all his punkamaniacs that are running wild every Monday night, that it is the best thing going in Michigan that's ever happened. Maybe the best thing ever on Monday night. So, if you're sitting here right now and you're not paying attention, a punk with toys, Monday Night Toy Ramblings, this guy will talk about everything. And it doesn't matter what you do. You can buy your subs. You can hit him with fake copyright strikes. He's coming after you if you get on his bad side. So what you're gonna do when Hulkamania, when Punkamania, when they all run wild on you?
Idiots! Incompetent buffoons! What is it now, Commander? Consummate morons, incapable of coherent thought! Are you watching that show again? Yes. Why didn't you just watch Pop Blender and Matthew's discussions, news, reviews before the show came out? Whether you agree or disagree, the perspectives provide enough context to know if the show or movie is worth your time or not. Yes, I know. I will not miss another Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central on Pop Blender's channel. Be more than once a man by watching Pop Blender and Matthew talk about pop culture news, discussions, and reviews on Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And now you know. Televiper, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe so we do not miss another episode. And hit that bell notification.
Fired? Have you recently lost your job with a major toy manufacturer? Tariffs got you down? You may be entitled to sharing your story on a major media streaming outlet. We want you to dish the dirt. Call Circle of Jerks at 900-555-0979. We will exploit you for our personal gain. That number again is 900-555-0979. Circle of Jerks. Every client gets a cookie.
All right, so quickly, wow. All right, so Billy Bear's Toys says this one classified I don't dig. The Televiper, I didn't like them as a kid either. Neither does Jeremy. Jeremy doesn't like black Televiper. He likes white Televiper, but not the black Televiper. But he also has a list of black G.I. Joe characters that he liked as a kid. So, and Matthew is saying tomorrow talking Wonder Man, Super Bowl commercials, Primal, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and more. You know what? I have not watched Wonder Man yet. It's just kind of sitting there, and I actually kind of forgot that it's there. I totally forgot that it's there. Probably because anytime Olivia's here, she's like 90210, 902. Let's watch it. All right. So obviously G.I. Joe dropped some stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit of G.I. Joe, but even before we get into the digital renders and ranking the digital renders on what we like best, we're going to talk about Hiya Toys coming in with the eel, yet he's still rocking a classified size. Okay, someone explain to me, like, Hiya, like, really, like, who doesn't know how to scale the weapons? Because I still don't understand that. Look what I did. It says, "Babe, wake up." He's talking Joe. Yes, we're gonna get it. So Hiya are 4.1 inches. So I have no issues scaling a 4-inch figure with 3.75. They just all work. And as stupid as it sounds, the 4.1, it really starts putting them in a different, they're just a little bit taller. And I think the figures without face portraits look pretty good. Although I think the last one they did, Old Man Outback, actually looks pretty good. So this does look good. I mean, it is just classified. It is classified in a 4.1 inch figure. I'm sure that knife is also going to slide down his calf, just like the classified one, which absolutely drives me nuts. But yeah. And I think they do a pretty good job of like making it look like it's in water. So Billy Boys, so that's the biggest thing. They're not sold in the US. So you got to get them through other places. So that's why I don't have a price on it, because they're all different. If I get them from Nerd Out here, his price are a little bit more because he has to order them from overseas. There's not really a distributor they have. Small Joe's I know has them. And Small Joe's is a legitimate site to order. You can pre-order the stuff, and I think they were around $35. So they're a little pricey for a 4-inch figure. And their quality, I think most would kind of agree. They're hit or miss. So that's one of those things you just got to be careful with. And this guy showing up here. Acknowledge me. Toy Connections, Punk say hi to me so I can leave. Ken, we have already said hi to you, but now we have acknowledged you. So you can leave now, I guess, if you want to. Viper Scout, Lauren, stop being rude. Say hi to Ken. I didn't even have a second to do it. But yeah, if again, I do like the way these look, but I also feel like you could get some of the 4-inch eels and probably for the same price, if not a little less. And you pretty much have the exact same figure because this is so much like the A Real American Hero one. But if you are interested in this, they are available. There's always ways to get things, but you do pay a little bit more. In the only reason why I can think that these are not technically allowed to be sold by Hiya in the U.S. would have to do with Super 7 having the rights to the 3.75 O-rings. But it still makes no sense because this is a completely different. It's 1/18 scale, but it is a completely different type of line. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure why they don't sell them here. But I think they would sell like crazy. I think they would sell so much better if these were sitting at a $25, maybe even a $30 price point. So Liquid Identity says 4 inches is never enough. That's why you start by saying that it's 6. So here it is, 4.1 inches, so 10.5 centimeters. And like I said, it seems kind of weird, but that point 1 does add to it when you're looking at the 3.75. And yet the 4-inch figures, I don't really have a problem. But yeah. But here we go. You can see the backpack. It has the same logo on it. I'm willing to bet that I don't want to call harpoon gun. I got yelled at for that. The whatever the gun is, I bet it is the exact same size as the classified one. Although I will say this, the one thing they definitely had to redo was their flippers. These flippers do not look really good at all. But anyway, if you want it, there are ways to get it. Like I said, I know smalljoes.com. They do have it. Spear gun. Thank you very much. I call it a harpoon gun, and people absolutely lost their mind. It's an M16. Thank you very much, Graph. All right. So, if you guys missed G.I. Joe Day, it was yesterday, and I think it's safe to say that this is what they have been waiting for. Now, again, I don't understand why Hasbro doesn't think that we can show off Joe stuff every single month. It is your property. It makes you money. It is a smaller property. Sorry about hitting that. It is a smaller property than Star Wars and Marvel. Again, please, everyone, don't try and say it's not. It is. But it is still a cash cow for them because they don't have to pay any type of licensing fees. So Tatsi says we made it to the main course and we have an hour to talk about it. So it seems kind of weird that a Sunday they dropped it. A few years ago, if you remember, there was a Star Wars stream, and then they started dropping classified figures. And if Chaz is still here, Chaz, if I remember correctly, made a ton of memes with like train just smashing through like Star Wars because they killed it. And this was kind of an odd drop. It was just like, here's all the digital renders. Now, I'm not going to be ranking them as I don't really rank pictures. But we're going to be talking about what we see here. So, first one here is Airtight with removable helmet. Damn it. I thought I adjusted that so it wouldn't break removable the way that it did. So Chris McLeod, if you didn't watch Chris McLeod Full Force, he always has the insight. I will continue to tell you guys, a lot of us learn things. We have different sources. I have people that tell me. I know other people that have sources. Chris McLeod is honestly like, if anyone is going to know it, it's almost always going to be him. So he did confirm that this was a removable helmet. So what the portrait looks like, who knows? Is he going to be a balding guy like from the cartoon? I'm not sure. This is also another one where I think it's time, and I don't know why that they haven't done this. I don't know if this is from the top down, but they really need to say, hey, we're going to have classified, and then we're going to have the classified retro figures. And the retro figures are going to look more like the retro figures. We're classified. We're going to do just that, is class them up. So here we go. He has the bright yellow. He does have his... It's kind of like a vacuum gun that's supposed to be able to clear the air. It can kind of suck everything in. The backpack looks, without looking at Airtight, very similar to what he had. To give him a sidearm, which again, I think they do need a sidearm. And I'll say it again. If you're on Instagram, Airborne Customs, he breaks down what he sees is new and reused. And there is a lot of new tooling within this. Airtight was never one of my favorite figures, but I do have to say this digital render looks really good. I think Airtight, again, he's a yellow character. It does pop now, but he seemed too bulky back in the day. Big helmet and everything. This doesn't seem like that. Look what Andy says. I wish I had some new gear for Chem Bio rad work. Or well, low effort Airtight, can't complain, I guess. And yes, Venom Spawn says Airtight's colors really pop, looks hella cool. And it is one of those things we're looking at it here, like it's not probably the best going through the jungles, but sitting on your mantle, sitting in your display, a nice yellow like this is going to pop pretty nice, to be 100% honest. Mr. Madgas quickly says, Punk, is it me or is it me? Is it me or just is it me or is it just me that is still Copperhead's mask? I can see why you're saying it looks like Copperhead's mask, but I don't think that it is. Well, it's not that English is hard, although they do say it's one of the hardest languages. But it was not. I can see why you would say it looks similar to Copperhead's mask, but it's not. Yeah, and look what Andy says. Yeah, Copperhead was a sculpt. This is removable. But it does have something similar, but that's just the front of it. Again, now where they reuse this, now again, there's a lot of things like, hey, we asked, well, no one really asked, but like it was one of those things like, where are you going to reuse barbecues, backpacking gun? They found a way to use it. They will find a way to reuse this, and this is definitely one of those figures that you can, you look at these accessories, you can create a new character or troop builders that are going to be some sort of have some sort of bio suit and different things like this. All in all, like, I think this is a good looking figure. It is as classic as it can be, especially with the yellows and the greens. And you even got the air hoses in the back here. So it'd be interesting to see how that actually plugs into the back. But yeah, I think, again, if you liked Airtight, I don't see how you can be too upset about it. Yeah, again, but the whole thing is you're not going to be able to get everything the exact same as what we had. I don't really mind the knee pads. It's probably something you probably want to have, to be honest. So, but anyway, so that's airtight. They're giving you a classic figure. It's going to be in the classified box. I don't know why you would have a reason to put it on a card, but I have a feeling that what's eventually going to happen is just like the Black Series. They do their carded figures. It's just two different versions. It may be the same character, very close color schemes. People can come back and get it. Then we get Overkill. Now, this is a Generation 3 Bat. His chest does open up. And this is completely new tooling. I don't think there's anything on here that isn't done or that's been done. He is a cyborg. So they said if you look closely, you can see the actual eye in it. I don't know about these weapons, but his chest does open up. I guess when we get closer to it, we're going to see exactly what's going to have in it. Somebody said that there will be like a gun in it. I don't know anything about this character, so I cannot speak to it. I know there are some people that are already mad about it. Go figure. People are mad about an action figure. This is one of those figures where I go, I could live with or without it. Now, it will be nice if these accessories do work with the other bats, like the knife and stuff, because then you can have repainted ones and give us some different accessories. So 3-star here is saying, now see, why couldn't have Marvel ran down the hall and borrowed some of that paint for Deadpool's gun? It would look better than the pea yellow. Tony, I know I was. And I mean, I know who this character is, but I know of him because of later on when I was collecting stuff. But yeah, he's definitely one of those, again, I heard people say, well, why couldn't they use this neon for sci-fi? Again, we don't need everything to be the exact same thing, just a bigger version of the O-ring. We don't need it. I mean, I don't get why people. Now, he has a knife. He has this big gun. He has some sort of claw. This other thing looks like a camera. I don't think he'd have a camera, but it must be some sort of laser gun that connects to his hand. That's the only thing that I can figure out. Or maybe it's a shoulder cannon. I don't know. But I don't. If the chest opens up and it's supposed to have a gun or what's supposed to have on it, I don't know. Ooh. Cooking with Eric says booty shorts. Shit, now I'm not gonna be able to not see that. Okay, so Darren, I thought you did not like this. I thought you were not happy about this, and you were being aggravated by it. And again, when we get it in hand, it may feel different, but I feel like this is going to be one of those ones where one might be just fine for me. One might just be perfectly fine with me. It's a wrist probe. So anyway, this is one, again, it's part of the bat family. Does nothing for me whatsoever. Does nothing for me. If I was ranking these, it'd probably be at number 7. The Hydro Viper. Now, this is odd because this is like, we all thought that when we saw Wetsuits flippers that they were going to use it. These are completely different tooling of flippers. that look way closer to what he originally had. He is supposed to be biogenetically changed, altered. I don't know the history of this figure. I do have one. I don't have his mask. I'm missing one of the flippers. So he does have the webbed hand. This is a figure that should have at least a second hand that's not webbed. And we may still get it. That might be something they can easily throw in there, but they should. Just for the fact that, hey, they're biogenetically altered, it doesn't mean that they've been altered yet. Maybe there's some that are still in the process. I've also heard people say that there's no reason to have a mask, that it should just be added on. I disagree completely. You want to be able to take the mask off, in my opinion, especially for photography and different things like that. And being altered doesn't mean that you have a mask that is like welded onto you, but it's just me. The backpack is very similar to what he had. He gets the Stingray. So if anyone has a Steve Irwin figure, you want to keep it away from this guy. Not the first time I've done a Steve Irwin joke. Hell, keep jumping in and saying howdy, just hopping on after watching the badass short of the snake armors in the snow. Thank you very much. I had a lot of fun with that. I talked about that a little bit earlier. Yeah, and believe me, when I was doing it, I had the whole idea of The Empire Strikes Back. Why I didn't use that on Instagram, I don't know. And then Tripping with Toys jumping in and saying no extra hands and a useless manta ray. Well, the manta ray actually came with it before, so that's the reason why. That's the reason why they gave it. If they didn't have it, they'd flip out. And remember, we don't always see everything. They do add some things. And I feel like I am with you. There should be a separate hand for this webbed hand, because technically you can't do anything with that hand. It just kind of is, again, it's supposed to be, genetically altered. But I am with you. It is one of those things that something should be, they should have an extra hand, but this is the hand that it should have also. And MCR says, too soon, Punk. It's never too soon. Remember that. I'm just quickly reading through some of these things here. But no, I think this looks good, to be 100% honest. But I'm with everyone that says that there should be an extra hand with it. Again, that's not hard for them to do. They just have to put it into the cost. I can't imagine that would cost that much, but I think you'd see more. And again, to see them to have Dr. Mindbender having a hand and maybe he's cutting it off and adding it to it. There's so much stuff that you could see actually doing. But yeah, this is one of those things. I actually really like this figure. I think he looks cool. I do have a soft spot for these divers. I don't know how to display them, but I love the divers. Whether it be the 60th anniversary diver, even the red and yellow one, but I've always loved Torpedo and Wetsuit and the eels. And I think he works pretty well. Bobby Wold says, I'm thinking of digging out my Beast Wars depth charge to go with this figure. I have to look and see who depth charge is. As you know, I'm not a huge not a huge Transformers guy. Hella Geek says, what if this is a retro card release and then they do mainline as figure and pet and give him a big sick mofo devil ray akin to the Scorpion? I don't believe that any of these are retro carded figures. But again, when someone says classify it up, I understand sometimes where the Cobras are very akin to what we had as Real American Hero because they're already futuristic. the GI Joes are the ones that definitely should be classified up. But yeah, Gun Bunny says so. Just one webbed hand, so he swims in circles. I think what can they give a reverse set of hands? I always thought of that with the O-ring. The same thing. Like, why would you only have one webbed hand? But you got to be able to hold things. Again, this is one of those ones where, yes, I believe they should have 2 webbed hands and 2 regular hands. It just makes sense. How you could even do a webbed hand that is closed that can actually hold weapons and stuff. But again, that would be completely redoing, or that would be completely creating new hands rather than just one. But yeah, this is, again, this is one of those things where if they didn't have the webbed hand, people would lose their fucking mind. I think we all can agree with that. People would lose their mind that it doesn't look exactly like the original. But yeah, so here we go. Again, I have a soft spot for all these divers. Ninja Force Zartan. He is a Target exclusive. A lot of new tooling in this figure. I could not care less about this Zartan. I never needed Zartan to be a ninja. We all know his history, who he acted like, what he did. He caused a lot of the issues with the Arashikage. I know there are some people that this was their Zartan. Again, this is a punk rocker, so I should be all for him. We knew it was coming. I don't care. Will I buy it? Yes. Will I think it will be one of my favorite figures? Probably not. But, and that's kind of who I was thinking of is Pixel Dan. I know he's dressed up like this. This is his Zartan. I don't think anyone could tell me with a straight face that they think that this Zartan looks better than the original Zartan. But everyone has different opinions. But what we do have here is a completely new bow and arrow. He has a quiver, and if you're looking at the bow and arrow, if you're looking at the quivers, the piece next to it is the piece of the bow. So it sounds like you're able to remove the extended bow and the arrow, and then you can just have a bow that isn't being stretched out. Which, since they're not allowed to actually give it a string on a bow, this is probably the best thing that they can do. Now, one of these pieces, if not both of them, are going to get lost, and depending on how well they plug into it. But I do think that it is a good compromise since they won't allow them to, put little strings on it. It looks like there's a backpack so he can hold both his swords, which I do believe are all new. His little sheath on his thigh, I believe it was the Full Force pointed out that those knives go in on the side. So there's two ports for them. And then he got his little, sickle or whatever. That's all brand new tooling. I don't have a Ninja Force Zartan, so I can't compare him how he looks to the original. He's total punk rocker. He looks like one of the guys that Arnold Schwarzenegger killed at the beginning of Terminator. Does he kill them all? I think he kills at least one of them. But yeah. Now, okay, so Liquid Identity is saying, and I heard Chris McLeod, I believe, say the same thing. The smaller blade is spearheads. Now, I don't have those figures, so I'm trusting what people are saying. But there's also been a lot of things that we thought were someone else's weapon, and it never came to fruition. I can't say yay or nay on that. I do think that this bow and quiver we will see numerous times going forward. A matter of fact, this might be something good to use if you do a version 4 or is it version 3 Storm Shadow, which I know they already did it with Arctic Mission, but that figure definitely needs an update because it's one of the worst figures, no boot cuts. But I think this is one of those ones that definitely that's one of those figures they really need to redo. Cobra Commander saying, rest in peace, Bill Paxton. I loved him in Near Dark. I got to say this about Bill Paxton. When I heard that he went in for an operation and things went awry, you kind of rolled your eyes and you're like, oh, another celebrity going in, to improve something. And I know his operation was something that wasn't to make himself look better or, a vanity operation. So that's when you go, I actually do feel bad that happened. Perceived Velocity jumping in here. I haven't seen you in a while, I don't believe. I stopped playing with Joe's in 89. I don't know if I'm going to get any of the 90s characters. And, that's one of those things I fully understand. And I think they do too. It is their job. That is their job, the classified team, Lenny and Tony, and whoever else is there, BMAC, in presenting it, is to take these figures that they know that people were out of the line, and most people, I'm not going to say all collectors, but most collectors do not have a fondness of anything, 90 and up. Even in 89, there's a lot of shit figures, but it's their job to make them where I want to get them. I look at a figure that maybe I saw when I was, 14 or 15. I'm at Toys R Us or wherever, and you still walk down, the aisles, and you're like, God, that looks really stupid. It is their job to make it so I see something that I wouldn't have thought I ever wanted, and I'm like, I need to get it. Now, I'm completely different. I do my reviews. I am a completist, so I'm going to pick this up. But I fully understand what you're getting at. And then Perceived Velocity also says, I'm getting my original 13. I'm glad that the 90s kids are getting their Neon Ninja. And you know what? That is a perfect way to look at it, because not everyone needs to be a completist. And I hate when I hear people that are so mad because, God forbid, Classified gives people something, or is giving other collectors or other fans of the property something that they had. And again, I think you realize this, like most of the people I would say in my chat here, they realize we're going to get the original 13. They don't do it all at once because, well, they don't do it all at once because they want people to stick around and maybe not like I never cared for these ninjas. And then you see them and they're like, wow, these look pretty good. All right, so Helen Geek says, I am confused by the string on the top right, but heard it is to switch out for the bow. Yeah, that's what it's for. So it can be displayed undrawn. Cool. Yeah, so because they can't actually do it like the Mezco Storm Shadow. His string is actually a real string. It can pull out. But unfortunately, Hasbro won't allow it because they're worried that someone will stick an arrow in it and actually, put an arrow through their sister's heart or something. I don't know, but that's exactly what it is. And again, it would be one of those things that gets lost. But I think this really works for photography, because trying to do any of the other ones for photography, it sucks. But you do what you can do, and I think this is a good compromise if that's what they have to do. And Graf says it's nice to see the end of the line is near for me when they reach the 90s Joes. Aside from the flag and Moray Haslabs. Well, I think this is what people have to understand, and I don't know this for sure, but my guess is that even when you get into the 90s, they realize that is not their big segment of collectors. And I think this is where you start drawing from creating new characters or characters maybe from the comics or the cartoons that we never had. I don't think doing full waves of 90s characters is something smart. But this is where you start dabbling into the Renegades. This is where you start dabbling into Sergeant Savage and pulling characters from that and putting that into the Classify line. This is where they need to start doing it while you still have some of the original figures from the Real American Hero during the 80s. So you're still keeping those fans in it so they can see what is coming next. Guys like me, guys like Matthew and other toy collectors, we're going to be watching this no matter what. They have to keep the G.I. Joe collector that was in it, from 82 to 87. You have to see new characters, and we're actually going to see a new character, soon. So here we have, Red Dog and Taurus. I actually have these thanks to Johnny Reno, Cage's Customs. He sent these all to me. That's the only reason why I actually have the Renegades. So I don't know anything about them. I do know that one of them is a kicker and the other one is a circus strongman. And people are mad that these figures are too small. Now, again, it was kind of pointed out that circus strongmen aren't always huge. They are strong men. There is an Instagram guy, Anatoly, I think that's his name. He dresses up as a worker that's cleaning up in gyms. He's super strong. He is not huge, but he is super strong. And that's kind of where you get these circus strongmen. As for our kicker, which I believe is Red Dog, he's a kicker. Kickers are not big guys, right? They might be big compared to me. They are not big guys. So again, it doesn't really bother me. I think the height and size of some of these figures, I think people focus way too much on them. You want to talk about the lack of imagination is when you lose your mind because a figure is different. I have more of an issue with all the figures being the exact same height. And Lego Star Wars Kids, oh God, I hope Taurus is bigger than that. Well, he's not going to be. I mean, that is the size that he's going to be. Now, I can't tell you what these figures were supposed to look like originally, as I just recently got them. They're all the exact same size. All the O-ring figures were the exact same height. There was no change in them. And Carlos says this is why they should have been sprinkling 90s characters in the line. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you to a point. I think it would have hurt the line, and I think more people would have been it would have drawn people away. But I'm with the premises. And Cobra Commander says Anatoly's videos are fake reactions, but he is strong. No, I'm with. I think at first Anatoly's videos were real, but after a while, again, you can't fake. I mean, you can't continue to hide who it is. But the weight that he is lifting is, the guy is, again, like you just said, he's fucking strong, and he's like, yeah, he's fucking strong. I watched some of his other video. You can only hide it so much. And as someone who works out, especially like these bodybuilders, they can look at someone who is wearing a suit like that, and you can quickly tell that someone is in good shape. I mean, I can tell pretty quickly when someone's wearing, certain things, suits. You can be like, that guy fills that out. So anyway, who is this? Local base walker. Maybe Taurus is not short It's Red Dog that is taller than average. And that could be it too. Again, like there are certain things. Now, again, I think when it comes to like Mainframe is an extremely short figure. Was he supposed to? I don't know. I know people thought Leatherneck should have been taller. One of the biggest problems with Leatherneck is that Gung Ho is literally so big. So big. So Gun Bunny saying, I thought he was an acro. I don't know, maybe. I thought they were saying he was a strong man, but then I did hear people also say that he was an acrobat. And anyone that knows about acrobats, you know, Robin was not the biggest guy in the world. So anyway, looking at them, they did kind of give them the weapons that they had from what I can remember. The pistol and the suppressor. They have that weird gun. Now they gave them, you know, Stalker's submachine gun. Some of these other weapons. I did hear some people making comments about the football and how awesome it will be. Like they can play football with other players. You know, there are other accessory sets that have footballs in it. So, but the fact that they give him a hand that can actually hold it, though he is a lefty, it looks like. But a lot of these weapons look like they are from The Walking Dead. It does look like these are some Walking Dead stuff. And let's see here. Matthew says, confirm Lenny hates Marines, gives them a bad symbol, and makes them short. Except for Gung Ho. Gung Ho made up for all of their height. K-Dog Broadcasting jumping news. I wish I had a girl who looked good. I would call her. All right. I know that reference. I do. That's I can't think of the song, but I do know the song, believe it or not. And Hella Geek says we can't help but associate that big burly man voice with Leatherneck like he had in the cartoon. So yeah, he felt like he should have been big. And I do understand. I really do. And I think more of the issue is how big Gung Ho and Roadblock are. They just overshadow everyone. They are actually out of scale, but that's just, I guess, how it is. But yeah, so there we go. I don't think it's an ICP song, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they took someone else's lyrics. I don't know. All right. So anyway, this is what we're going to get. There is some new tooling in this. And again, go to Airborne Customs. He breaks it all down. So here is not Wild Bill. This is a new G.I. Joe character. Once again, I was told that there are two new characters, one being Cobra, one being G.I. Joe. Everyone obviously assumed that this is Retro Wild Bill. He does have a hat. He has a different hat than the Calvary hat. Now, they could still have done this, but it looks more like a cowboy hat. But Matthew pointed out it is a different hat to me. Chris McLeod, once again, of the Full Force, pretty much said everything like this is not Wild Bill. I could be wrong. He said I could be wrong, but this is not Wild Bill. But I think that we are supposed to be getting a retro carded Wild Bill. This is not. Now, this is where people start wondering where this figure comes from. Now, clearly he's a G.I. Joe. He has a blue background. They started pointing out the tomahawk, and a lot of people think that he might be like a Native American. He has the 6 shooters, so they're going to be the same pistols, probably the same holsters that did come with Wild Bill, probably a little bit of that buck for sure. But I have no problem with them creating new characters. I know other people hate it, and they'll say, I have no connection to this character. Yes, because it's a new fucking character. But this is what you need to create the line, to continue this line. You want it to survive. I want it to survive. I want this to go 10, 15, 20 years. I've invested so much into it. K Dog says, or Marshall Braveheart, someone, I think it was Jojo Jerk, showed a cowboy hat that was supposed to be Wild Bill's, though. Yeah, someone, yeah. But again, Chris McLeod was pretty adamant that this is not a retro Wild Bill, that this is a new character. That's the reason why they hid it. And again, why would they hide a character that we know? And that makes all the sense in the world. So I'll be interested to see who it is, if it is a completely new character. But yeah, it'll be interesting. And I'm glad that they're doing something like this. But yeah, the best was PD Destro in a cowboy hat. You know, I know, I believe Chaz, he threw Zartan's face on a Wild Bill, saying this is the new Zartan. So there's been a lot of funny things. I actually like them doing this. I wouldn't want Rip Wheeler. Rip Wheeler is he's kind of fucking annoying in Yellowstone. I'll say it. It's Western Snake Eyes. I saw it. Well, it is all black. But yeah, he has got to be the first of the three amigos, Steve Martin. No, so yeah, this again, it's not Wild Bill from my understanding. And that's just what, again, I have no inside knowledge. It's listening to Chris McLeod. I'll say it again, like Chris McLeod has already, there's a few characters he's already said, like, we know what this is. I can't tell you till it's confirmed, till it comes out. But anyway, I think that them hinting at some sort of like Native American with the tomahawk, the 6 shooters, I think that kind of gives us an idea that it's going to be a new character. And then we get Zanya with the Chameleon. This is an Amazon and fan channel exclusive. This was one of those ones we knew was coming. You know, it was mentioned to me that the Chameleon was coming. We started hearing that Zanya was going to come. We know Heart Wrencher is supposed to come. This will probably be a very similar buck. I've already heard people losing their shit because it comes with, or she comes with, Copperhead's gun and knife, and then Falcon's shotgun. Again, man, you guys get mad about things. I will say this, you know, guns don't change size for the size of a person. But if someone is a smaller person, you would think that they would grab a smaller weapon. So I have more than enough smaller weapons that I'm sure she will have. Now, I have seen it on the internet. People mad saying they don't know who this character is. This is stupid. I'm going to quickly jump here. Oops. This is who she is. This is Zartan's daughter. She has been around for quite some time. And you can see that this is the exact character. I mean, they took it and they took it from, you know, the IDW. So she's been around for quite some time. So all the people that go on the internet, go on Facebook, you're literally on the fucking internet. Before you go and start griping about something, do a quick Google search and see if she existed and you just didn't know about it. It's really not that hard. Now, you may not like her, and that's fine. So what they're doing is they're giving her a different helmet so you can kind of army build her in case you want to buy multiple chameleons. Because let's be honest, there are going to be people that want at least 4 chameleons for the original Dreadnoks and Zartan. Now, you can just go buy 3D printed ones for a little bit cheaper. I think I bought mine for $30 from Mark to Toys. So you can do that if you really want. But if you want an official classified one, this is what you're gonna have to buy. So she has like the hockey mask. She has like and I don't know if this was in the comic, an interesting like tanker's helmet. It looks like 2 different goggles. She's got her punchy fists. The guns are not great, and they're not going to fit her as, again, smaller weapons. They should give with the females. Unless if the story is like, hey, she's such a badass that she has these big old, these big old pistols and she wants it. So, but they're just giving you stuff. And I think because they are trying to, Xenia is DDP, not IDW. I'm sorry, Matthew. Sorry. But this is one of those ones, and again, I'm not a huge fan of these weapons, but I'm just going to change them out. And again, she needs to have some smaller weapons, that is for sure. Now, as for the chameleon, this was what we saw the skier or the ski. Everyone kept saying, and I first said, oh, hey, you know what? That looks like a polar battle bear. But once you looked at it again, you went, no, the ski is going in the opposite direction. It was a swamp skier. It was the only thing because it is a ski that is being drugged. Yes, I know, Pop. I know. I said something wrong, and he has to come and correct it. That's why him and this guy go at it all the time. And he says, design on the mask mimics Zartan's makeup, and the extra goggles look like they are for Buzzer. Oh, you are correct. Well, you're definitely correct on the mask. The extra goggles, I see what you're saying. I could see that. Because maybe they fit on this mask here, which would make it a bigger head sculpt, and then may fit on Buzzer. So yeah, you might be right there. But I did not notice the mask there. That it does kind of mimic. It does mimic that. So that is interesting for sure. Yojo, I'm sorry, 610 Yojo Daddy says, I was very disappointed we never got Heart Wrencher back when she was rumored. Can't wait for her down the line. Yeah, and that's one of those things that, again, like we know that she was going to come. And that was one of those definite swerves that they did where they changed things out for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why. Jamie Garcia jumping in here, he says, my main fear would be her hair sculpting will keep her from being able to look up while she is posed on the sled. Well, that's not a problem because no fucking classified can look up anymore. So it's not the hair that's going to be the problem. If the classifieds could actually look up, then you would have a gripe. The gripe is that they don't let any of the classifieds look up anymore, so the hair doesn't even cause a problem. But I fully understand what you're saying. That hair, again, I wish if they're going to do stuff like this, and this goes for every company, go buy some Jada figures and go, what are you guys doing? Oh, rubber hair. Perfect. You put the rubber hair in, it can move around. It works better. All right. So I was trying to talk about the chameleon. This is clearly different than what the original looked like, but again, we can see the evolution of it. I'm not gonna lie. I like the original. It was very basic in the way that it looked here. They're trying to do something a little bit upgraded here. You have a gun on the front. You can see where the handles are. I will say this, Jamie. I can tell you right now, I think we're all going to be disappointed that who's ever riding this is going to look down, which sucks. And that sucks. It's very disappointing why they do that. I mean, they have these snipers that can't look up, but they used to be able to. So they made a design change, and it's just disappointing that they would change it. This is also one of those ones where we know why they do this. They do it so they can put that. They do it so they can put the number on the box, but there are people that want at least 4 of these for the original Dreadnoks and Zartan. This should have been just a basic release without a figure on it, or give it like a basic Viper. A Swamp Viper was actually something that I had kind of heard. No, actually, I had Swamp Viper for the water moccasin, but something different where you can easily just, okay, this is an army builder. I can throw it with my Cobra. The size that they're giving her a mask and all, but again, the outfit is so unique. You can't just have it as a generic figure. So to me, that's where it sucks. And this is probably going to be a $60 price point. Now that they've gone up from $55, I think they're $60 price point. Will there be people that will buy 4 of them for the Dreadnoks? Yes, but I would just say buy one if you're a completist, and then go buy some 3D printed ones from Mark II Designs or Mark II Toys, and then you don't have to worry about it. So, this is my opinion. We have Crash jumping in here saying, "Sup guys, Lawrence, how you doing?" I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Giving me some G.I. Joe to talk about, so can't complain there. And yeah, Debo says, "I love the original too. I have 4 of the non-F swamp skiers. The non-F. Is that a designer?" And then we have Tidarium Hanger jumping in here, just saying hi back here in the Motu section. on the Motu section. You are living in the past. Great to see you. If you've never checked out Tidarium Hanger, he does some really good content, so check out his stuff for sure. You think that there's more Star Wars, but man, he did a lot of Transformer stuff. There is no price point yet, but my guess is $60. Because $55 was the price of the vehicles. Everything's gone up, so I think we're going to be looking at the $60 price point. But yeah, so this is again, I think it looks decent. It is a new upgrade. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of the green. But this is also a digital render. Remember that. So when we see it in hand, we might feel completely different the way the plastic looks. Again, the silver doesn't pop, in my opinion. So, and then this is where I skipped to earlier. This is the image, not the Devil's Due. I have to apologize. But this was Frontline, and again, this was Zartan's daughter. Who the mother was, no one really knows. But when you look at this character, and they've done Kamakura, they've done Helix. This is where they need to start. They need to start pulling from some of these other designs. This is classified, not a real American hero. And even though so much of the stuff is pulled from a real American hero, Classified is supposed to be its own thing where they can pull from wherever they want. They can create new characters. So it's time to go into these Image comics and IDW comics and start pulling characters that we've never had before and putting them in the line. I just think that it's something that will progress the line so it can go that 10, 15, 20 years. That's what they really need. And people can be mad about this character. First off, what does it matter? There was some lore that was created on her. I'm sure JLS Comics, if he doesn't, will soon have a, who is Zanya, and have his, 15 minute video that will break down all the iterations and all, everywhere that she has been seen. so it can give people a backstory. But I really have no problem with this. Again, I think this is exactly where you need to go, creating new characters, especially the Dreadnoks. Yeah, and that's about it. But as you can see, this character is completely made from the comics that she was in. They did the outfit and everything, so that's what it. I don't think they ever talked about who the mother is. I think that was not important. It's weird because normally they don't tell you who the dad is. But yeah, Helly Geek says, what if her mother was Lady J? Because Zartan disguised himself as Flint and got okay. But here's the whole thing: a guy cannot know who his kids are. It's really hard for the mother to not realize that she was pregnant and popped out a child. But yeah. Okay, so Matthew is saying that her mother is in the Frontline comp. I kind of remember that. I don't know if I still have those books. I sold so many of the books, but I do kind of remember that they mentioned or they talked about who the mother is and how she does end up with Destro. But it has been a long time. I actually did read it. It's just been a long time, and you just kind of pass that stuff. Jamie Garcia says, they may be wise to pull from Energon. I agree. Those seem to be popular. My kids read some of those titles. So, Jamie, I'm just going to say this. I don't read Energon because I stay away from comics. It's a bad place for me to go, and I know that. But from everything that I hear, people love the Energon universe. It's one of the best-selling comics, if I'm correct. This is where, in my opinion, they need to say, we have the retro line. It is doing well. It is here to stay. This is where we're going to touch on the real American hero stuff. This is the stuff that you're going to get. We're going to throw it on the cards. Even new figures, the classified stuff, the actual box classified stuff. And I'm sorry, yes, retro, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I was told, they are classified retro. They are considered in the classified. But the retro Carter figures, a real American hero. Then go to the box and classified and say it. Hey, classified was always on its own, but classified is part of Energon. This is where we're going to pull. We're going to do Energon here. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the Energon universe, the writers and stuff, and Lenny and them. But this is a Hasbro thing that they separate all this stuff. But there would be nothing wrong with them coming in and doing that, where they're like, hey, classified here now is basically going to come from the Energon universe. And Energon is going to take some of the characters we create, and we're going to take some of these characters that they create and put them in our line. And I feel like that's probably where it's going to go. I have no insight on that, but they should. So I am with you 100%, even though I don't read like the comics. I agree. Like they need to start pulling stuff because from my understanding, one way or another, one of them pulled Nemesis Immortal from the other. I saw the comic panels with the Hiss. They took the upgraded Hiss for the classified, and they put those parts in the background and on the actual Hisses. So that's something they should do. But who knows what they'll do? To me, it's one of those things where I do feel like they're doing well, but I do think they could do better, and they could do better and do more, and they already have the stuff established. That's kind of what the craziest thing is. We're not saying they need to create a comic. They have a comic created. Why are you not just working with them? Why are you not allowed? From everything that and again, when Yojo June comes and people start losing their minds because they're like, oh, they talked about comics, they talked about Super 7. Well, again, Yojo June encompasses all of G.I. Joe. Hasbro owns G.I. Joe. So where you and I and others may want classified, they have to look at Yojo June as we have to talk about all things G.I. Joe. Unfortunately, the collectors and the majority of the collectors with a voice on YouTube, they only care about classified. Where Star Wars, well, Star Wars talks about Star Wars on their own. They deal with their own books, comics, and merchandise. So, so Hasbro only has to deal with the Black Series and Vintage and that, and same with Marvel. That's what people don't seem to understand when they lose their mind. And once again, they will lose their mind. There are guys in here right now that do streams that I guarantee will fucking talk about it on the stream. How once again, they're not showing us enough classified. But the truth is they have to promote their own product. There's no one else that's going to promote it. That's what Yojo June is really supposed to be. But it's been 3 hours. We got through the G.I. Joe stuff. I didn't really have a topic because it was, Yojo Day or G.I. Joe Day or whatever it is. February 1st, you're always going to get a bunch of digital reveals. No live streams yet. No fan streams. They said come New York Comic Con, we will be seeing more. That's when prices are going to go up. According to Entertainment Earth, there was a bunch of Hasbro drops. I know G.I. Joe fans think that if Entertainment Earth has a Hasbro drop, it has to be G.I. Joe. No, it's a Hasbro drop. They have some very large properties that there'll be other things. We should be getting a live stream sometime this month. I don't think that they have announced it. If I did, it was while I was working and I haven't paid attention to it. So, but I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys all for tuning in. It has been a wonderful night. As always, love talking G.I. Joe and obviously everything else toy-wise with you guys. Tomorrow, 6:30 p.m., we will be ranking the G.I. Joe accessories for the digital renders because you guys love the ranking videos. It's amazing. It's fun. It's not. And we're not doing that. So anyway, tune in to Baldilocks channel where we were talking 6:30 Circle of Jerks. If you don't know the Circle of Jerks, you should really be over there every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. This Thursday, I will also have Red Toys Galaxy on for Thursday with a Friend at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember, tomorrow after Circle of Jerks at 10 p.m., Pop Blender and Matthew Matson go on with the evening blend. If Matthew says something wrong, I want every single one of you to message him, put it in the chat that he's wrong about something because he loves to do that to everyone else. But everyone have a wonderful night. Take care.